Please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem.
My wife's name out your fucking mouth!
There's a mistake. Moonlight. Best Picture.
Roger Ebert derided the film Ali with 2 stars in his review for the Chicago Sun-Times and mentioned it lacks much of the flash, fire, and humor of Muhammad Ali and is shot more in the tone of a eulogy than a celebration. I'm your host, David Crespo. Matt Garingo, my co-host. Would you agree with that?
It's close, but no potato.
Okay.
It's a little. It's kind of like, yeah. He wasn't trying to make a movie about how fun Ali was.
Yeah. This seems to be the common criticism of Michael Mann's 2001 film, Ali. Which is what we're here to talk about today on the Failed Award Contenders, Season 2.
Yes. We're back to talk about more Michael Mann.
As we should be.
A guy no one's talking about.
Well, it's died down a little bit right now. It'll ramp up again for Ferrari, which comes out later
It'll ramp
this
up
year.
again for Ferrari, and then no one will see it.
I know. It's just going to be a film Twitter thing.
Still haven't watched Tokyo Vice.
I have not either.
Yeah. So, we're part of the problem.
Yeah. I mean, he only did the pilot, though.
Yeah, but it's Tokyo Vice.
Yeah, and it's just
someone who watched Miami Vice until it killed him. I should have watched Tokyo Vice.
Yeah. I hear the pilot is at least exciting because you can see Michael Mann doing some cool shit with the camera.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, that's the bare minimum of what we should expect from Michael Mann.
Well, because he came on after it was being produced, so it's not like his baby or anything like that.
All right. Was it like
Miami Vice, one of the more I guess controversial takes? People will still say it's that's the show is on Michael Mann property, and it is, but it's not just his.
Mm-hmm.
It is the work of many other individuals.
But he did have his hands more in that than Tokyo Vice.
Yes, he did.
He was
definitely
hands-on.
And then you watch a couple episodes of Miami Vice and Manhunter back to back, and you're like, oh yeah, I see it.
What's the it's the natural evolution of his style,
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, yeah, this was definitely the next step, right?
Yeah.
And at least this weird thing where people go he's all style and no substance, which was his thing for a long time, which is crazy to think about.
I know. I mean, it is fucking wild that he didn't get a Best Picture win.
Yeah, it's weird. What of his has gotten Best Picture nominations?
Insider.
Yeah, and didn't win.
I don't understand any of this. Ali did not get a Best Picture nomination or Best Director.
This is clearly designed to win every award, and it won none, I think.
Let's see. Let's take a look at what it did win. The Black Reel Awards of 2001. It won everything it was nominated for.
That makes sense.
Broadcast Film Critics Association Awards, no wins. Chicago Film Critics Association Awards, Best Supporting Actor John Voight won.
It won an ESPY.
Yeah, 59th Golden Globe
no
Awards,
Golden Globe
won
wins.
Nothing.
No Golden
Globe.
MTV Movie Awards.
Yeah. MTV Movie Awards, Will Smith, it won.
Yeah.
Best Male Performance.
Wow.
So
I can't believe Will Smith in the year 2002 won at the MTV Movie Awards. I can't believe that happened.
I think he should have won again for Bad Boys 3.
Can you believe that happened? All right. I guess we gotta talk about it. We can't dance around it, really.
No, I think we can dance around it. We can float like a butterfly.
Yeah, but the thing, we're going to talk about dancing around it, and then we're just going to go right at it.
And then we have to talk about his sting like a bee.
Yeah. Is Will Smith ever going to win another award again?
Yeah.
You think he will?
I think he will.
Okay.
Because then he's going to... we have these superstars from the 90s that are aging out now. Everyone's going to get the fucking victory lap tour. Everyone who's still working and has a decent enough reputation And the truth is, people still like Will Smith a lot. Like, people like are shitting on him and making like the jokes are just annoying at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you're not that funny if you're making a joke about the slap incident.
Mhm.
Like, I promise you, all the funny jokes have been said about it already. It's over. Don't do that anymore.
Mhm.
You're not that clever. And I think he's gonna get like a redemption tour eventually after the 10 years of his banning from the Oscars are up. Like, not immediately. He's gonna need to pick a good project, which
Mhm.
God bless Will Smith, not the best at.
Yeah, well, that's the
picking
key.
good projects.
Here's the thing, Will Smith. I think there's a lot that we could say about the slap, right? Where there was a like, where the fuck did this come from? Immediately followed by a like, I guess this kind of makes sense that Will Smith would do this. And then it was a weird like, now his entire career is in context of that moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and and then he wins the Oscar immediately after that. Like, right after was when he wins Best Actor, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is maybe the single craziest thing that's happened at the Oscars, outside of Moonlight.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, outside of that, but also like you look at his film.
Sorry, just immediately after.
Yeah, like right after.
Wow.
It was like wild. Like, what has Chris Rock said about it? Like, I haven't heard any comment from him really.
He said like it was like, I forget what he compared it to, so I don't want to put words in his mouth, but like he was he's mentioned it in his stand-up routines from what I understand.
Mhm.
And then he's also mentioned that it was kind of like you know, if I'm gonna pull this up. I don't want to misquote something terrible.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, he said he doesn't consider himself a victim. Anyone who says words hurt has never been punched in the face,
Mhm.
which is, I think, a funny quote. You know, not a victim, but still hurt. He had some quote that I remember was pretty controversial, but I can't find it, and I don't want to.
Well, I do remember
disrepute anything.
him kind of saying like it freaked him. I do remember giving one quote where he said like, yeah, it kind of freaked me out a bit, like that he wasn't happy that it happened. Obviously,
Yeah, and I mean, hey, who would be happy about that situation?
Yeah, I kind of remember people coming down on Chris Rock being like, "What are you talking about? Nothing happened." I was like, I mean, you know, I'm not. It's not nothing. You know, that's the thing about it.
Yeah.
It's not nothing, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
But it is that thing of like, I was with, because I'm a white idiot, and I was at a family gathering like a year ago, and that came up, and to me, it's like, okay, this is just an excuse to talk about how wild that moment was, right?
Mhm.
And then for other family members, who I try to see as little as possible, it was an excuse to get as racist as possible, as quick as possible.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And it feels like, I feel like white America might be done with him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Fairly or unfairly. Probably unfairly, you know?
Yeah.
But again, it's wild. And again, it's weird because we're talking about Hollywood, where it's like, so many people have done so much worse and still have careers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, but they also didn't do it on live television, I guess.
Yeah,
Which doesn't help things.
There was a conversation I was having about it with a professor last year, and he was adamant that it wasn't the worst thing that's ever happened, but the setting it happened in, like, exacerbates it to such a degree that it looks significantly worse. Like, hey, don't slap people, but hey, maybe people that get slapped, maybe think about what brought you to the point where someone felt the need to walk on stage and slap you. But again, the arena in which it happened in makes it seems so much worse.
Yeah.
Because these people are all fucking. We don't need to get into the type of people that are in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But, you know, You had people responding with like just the most ridiculous shit
Mhm.
about how like, oh, he could have killed him. I think Judd Apatow
Judd Apatow
said,
said that, yeah.
which is so fucking just wow.
Mhm.
I think Wanda Sykes defended Chris Rock,
Mhm.
and she knows that Will Smith apologized to him, but said that no one apologized to us. Worked really hard in putting that show together.
Mhm.
And she was like, what the hell is this? And like, I can understand you put in hard work into making a show good, and then you get kind of, everyone gets sidetracked with like, wait, what the fuck has happened?
Well, all right. I'll just make this point really quick.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous to like set Will Smith's entire career on fire because of this moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's important that we go that it was fucking dumb and bad that he did it, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's any dancing around going like. Actually, when you think about it, what he did was somewhat justified. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy that he did that. And then it's that thing of like, for me, what that moment really put into perspective was his weird choice of bad move. A lot of the bad movies he's picked over the years, right? There's a
Mm-hmm.
common theme in a few of them, which one he's either like some sort of martyr, right, atoning for sins,
Mm-hmm.
or he's like this hardened badass, that like doesn't have any friends and doesn't like people. Like what? Like that's been like After Earth, which is like a movie that's kind of his, like that he really helped develop with M. Night
Mm-hmm.
and Gary Whitta, right? It like a huge part of that is about how he's like an emotionless robot. What a strange movie, right?
Yeah, very
Uh,
strange.
um,
Not M. Night Shyamalan's worst,
mm.
but very strange movie.
But
Yeah.
like for me, that moment put a lot of that shit into perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And also, there's the last rap album he did. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, actually, I haven't listened to his last album.
Lost and Found,
Mm-mm.
which it kind of went viral after the slap because that album is like it has Switch in it. You remember Switch, which was like his last hit?
Yeah, that I do remember.
Um, but it's also got several songs where he is super defensive about his public image and the people he has beef with in public, which range from Eminem to his ex-wife to Larry Elder of all people. It's a weird album. I would recommend checking it out a little bit just because it is a different side of Will Smith that maybe we weren't aware of that much, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he's got a song in there like that's basically him being like, my ex-wife, now she's all religious and judgmental of my life, and he says that he wanted to kill her at times in the song, and then compares her religious fanaticism to the attacks on 9/11. And it's one of those where like it goes from like 0 to 11 really quickly. Again, this is an album that also has Switch on it. I'm just bringing this up because there's just Will Smith is such a complicated public figure, which I think no one realized how complicated he was until the slap moment.
Yeah,
That
and
there's a
to your
lot
point
more
about
going on with him than maybe we realized.
yeah, and like that's who am I to like cast a light on an individual who's very publicly clearly going through something, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, I hope he gets to a good place because like that doesn't just happen randomly.
Yeah.
I will say to your point about like white America maybe being done with him, like those are the people that will not address complicated human issues, like human emotional issues that get someone to that point. Those
Yeah.
like, no, he did a bad thing, so he's bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, people do bad things, and maybe they're not always a bad person, And now, we're talking repeat offenders here, or people that show no signs of improvement, that's one thing. But that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
You know?
And it's this thing of like Will Smith of his complicated image. He's mostly just weird, and then that happened, right? Like that's really all you can say. I mean, that was there were so many weird stories about Will Smith for the longest time, and it's all just now it's so overshadowed by the slap moment, right? Like,
Yeah.
And again, it's become like this weird inflection point that makes it like difficult to talk about. And it's just crazy that he then wins the Oscar right after he does that. Like he basically set his whole career on fire and then wins the Oscar. That's kind of comedy gold though. Like
No, that is amazing. You could do a hysterical short film about
Yeah.
that exact sequence of events.
Mhm.
Maybe don't. But
It's important to remember that before this, though, it is this thing of like Will Smith was like personally chosen by Ali to play him in the movie. Like Ali endorsed the choice of Will Smith. And before the slap incident, Obama was always talking about if they make a movie about me, Will Smith should play me. And it's like now it's like that those conversations will never happen now
Yeah.
that this has happened. Does he have anything lined up? He did that Emancipation with No One Saw.
Yeah.
Which I think was also like in the works before the incident really happened.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Like,
he has Bad Boys 4, which everyone was like, "Oh, is that on the back burner now?" And then, like, I think a month after that incident, the producer said, "No, it's still in the works." And then, as recently as like 2 weeks before recording this episode, they're like, "No, it's like we're in development right now. We're working with the directors from the last movie again because they just got booted off Batgirl, which is a whole other thing."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it looks like Bad Boys 4 is gonna be like kind of an attempt at redemption for separate groups of people.
Well, I think it's this thing of like we really don't know at this point because Emancipation doesn't really count because that was like an Apple TV thing, right?
Yeah.
So
like not a lot of people saw it.
Yeah, like so, but it's not a like test of him as an actor again. Whereas like if Bad Boys 4 comes out and makes like $3, then people will be like, oh, okay, his career has been fucked up by this.
Yeah.
I always think of like it's this thing of like we hold black artists to a higher standard than white artists in Hollywood, which is because it's that thing of like I was talking about like white America being done with him. Where it's like there's right and wrong. What he did is wrong. Anyway, when's Mel Gibson coming back? Like, that's the attitude, Mel Gibson, a guy who basically came out and said that like he hates the Jews and he's a Holocaust denier, and has never really explained any of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he just said, "I'm sorry." You can't just be sorry for comments like that, You have to be like, hey, where does that come from, motherfucker?
Like, look, I think we all understand that if you make a mistake, maybe not as bad a horrible, evil mistake as what Mel Gibson has said, but you make a mistake, it's sometimes a little hard to own up to it. What he said was so horrific that I can understand why he's having a hard time owning up to it. But I also believe that he probably just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Which makes him worse, and it's upsetting that he's still getting work, and he should go away. Stop it. There's a reason he wasn't Mad Max for Fury Road,
Yeah. That is always the worry that George Miller is going to be the one that throws him like a lifeline one of these days.
Yeah.
Because they did kind of have like a career. Their careers kind of started together. But hey, but I always think I brought this quote up before, but I always think of the Patrice O'Neill quote about like how like white actors can kind of bounce back from flops a lot easier than black actors. Whereas like let Denzel do Battlefield Earth and he'd be hosting a game show by now. Which I think I'm like, yeah, that's probably right. Like that's just how it is. And we're in a weird spot with Will Smith. And yeah. And it's one of these things where like I don't think anyone saw it. Like who saw that being the thing that was going to happen?
Yeah.
And then it's like but it's also like when was the last time he picked a good movie that was also a hit, right? Because I know you're the Gemini Man defender.
I am the Gemini Man defender,
but no one saw
I wouldn't say that. Yeah.
Bad
Boys for Life
did make money, but also like kind of like I don't know. That was a weird one where like. It made $400 million, and you are the only person I know who has seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know like non-movie people here were like, they made another Bad Boys. It was so good.
Maybe it's a
So
West Coast thing. Maybe the East Coast doesn't give a shit.
yeah, maybe,
Although
maybe.
I'm from Philly, which is Will Smith territory.
Yeah.
So, but no one I know even I could bring that up and they don't even know it exists.
Oh my God! You know what else I forgot? Aladdin, which is I'm
Yeah,
never watching. God bless Guy Ritchie movies, but like I have no interest in that.
yeah, like a
But
financial hit, but like a bad movie.
people, yeah, people really liked him in that movie, from what I understand.
Did they?
Yeah,
I never saw it, or maybe I did. If I did, I barely remember it.
yeah.
But I do remember when that trailer dropped and people were horrified. It was one of those early, like the special effects aren't done
Oh yeah,
trailers.
yeah.
Remember? And then
Of
they
course.
got that one better, I guess. But before that was Bright, which maybe is instrumental
No.
in the collapse of Netflix, but was also like a terrible movie. Before
Yeah,
that,
they really put all their chips in that one.
Collateral Beauty. Remember Collateral
God,
Beauty?
I do. It's like a Book of Henry level
Yeah, that's
disaster.
like Book of Henry shit. Suicide Squad, which is bad.
But you know what? I'm willing to say that is also a Book of Henry style
Yeah, you're
disaster.
probably right.
Three back-to-back movies that are just fucking atrocious. Like, I bet I'm gonna watch Aladdin one day and be like, yeah, whatever.
There was his
Bright,
other.
Collateral Beauty, and Suicide Squad are three of the worst movies ever
Yeah.
made.
And again, and now at this point, we're already back in 2016 with these movies. Like think of like a guy who is as big as Will Smith and hasn't made a good movie in that stretch of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go back another year. We have Concussion, which what I've never seen Concussion.
I remember I saw it and I remember nothing of it.
Yeah, it didn't make money. It was a early play of his, like Academy Award play. Like he was trying to get an Oscar again. I don't even think he was nominated though. And it was one of those that kind of got buried because of the whole like NFL is the most powerful organization in America apparently.
Yeah.
So, and then there's a movie. Do you have a list up in front of you? Don't open.
I do.
Okay, so this is a movie, so you know what I'm about to say. That is like the last time Hollywood did this, which is they made a vehicle explicitly for Will Smith and Margot Robbie just to help set up that they're going to be in Suicide Squad a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason Focus exists. Right?
Yep.
A movie that people defended when it came out. I couldn't tell you a goddamn thing that happened in that movie. Did you see Focus?
I saw it way back when it came out, yeah, and I thought it was like fine.
Yeah.
At the time, I don't know, but
no memory.
I do kind of miss movies like that where it's just like completely star vehicles.
Yeah. Well, there should be more movies like that, really, to just show off what a star does. But also, that movie doesn't, I don't think, showcase Will Smith very well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it did, I would at least be able to talk about, hey, remember when Will Smith did that in the movie?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a bad sign that no one's talked about that since it came out.
And I think it's this weird thing Will Smith had where he doesn't like his public persona in a weird way, Like, I always think of just how different the character of Agent J is in the first Men in Black and the second Men in Black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, like the first Men in Black, he's like kind of like he's the more naive, but like he's got like a human side to him, right? Or he's like Tommy Lee Jones, like the old by the book guy, and he's like, God, you can't flash her that much. That's gonna do brain damage to her and shit like that. And it's like he cares, because he's the young guy. He still has some humanity to him. And then by the second one, he's like he can't hold down a partner. He's like got a reputation of firing people, which is a weird thing to give his character. Like he's a completely different guy by the second one, Yeah. And that likability just gets stretched away. And then like the third one is even kind of about why he doesn't have that likability, which was never part of his character.
Yeah.
But anyway, then before Focus, he was Lucifer in Winter's Tale.
Oh yeah, which is just a legendary meme.
Yeah.
At this point.
He also produced Annie, which was supposed to star his daughter, and then his daughter was like, "I don't want to be an actress anymore." And at least Will Smith was like a cool enough father to be like, "Okay, then you don't have to be." But That was designed to be a Willow Smith vehicle. He had a cameo in Anchorman 2, After Earth, which was another one of people being like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. It was the movie that I was like, oh, Will Smith let me down again. But M. Night Shyamalan might still have some juice.
Mhm.
And I was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Men in Black 3, which is
Men in Black 3,
Jesus.
which is that movie that they reshot like all of and like was kind of a nightmare to make.
Yeah. Like, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but
people really love it, and I was like, why?
yeah, I don't get either side, I guess. And then he didn't do a movie for 4 years between Men in Black 3, partly because that production went so long. But then he has 7 Pounds, which is another like Book of Henry level disaster.
Yeah.
And Hancock, which is an okay movie, I would argue, that kind of just falls apart.
I like that movie until
everyone does.
The end.
Everyone does.
I think it's Peter Berg's best movie outside of like
almost
The Rundown.
a Michael Mann film, by the way.
Yep.
Which is the other thing.
You can see the moments where he would have excelled.
Yeah.
Too.
Michael Mann doing a superhero film might have changed the trajectory of cinema.
Yeah,
like
honestly,
it really could have. And
I mean, he would have made Nolan obsolete with Dark Knight.
Yeah,
and I don't say that like out of like any sense of negativity. I'm just saying like he's doing what Michael Mann did.
Yeah,
or he's trying to, you know.
But also Hancock, another character where it's like he's a washed up alcoholic who everyone hates and he hates everyone. Like, why does he keep getting attracted to those characters?
I don't know.
We talked about this in the Wild Wild West episode where he plays Jim West, which is a guy who's just an asshole to everyone, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
and he says some truly horrific racist shit.
Really horrific shit, and it's deeply unlikable. And then there's I Am Legend before that, which is another one where it's kind of like that movie's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
Probably his best performance in a blockbuster.
Honestly, yeah, maybe.
Completely wasted in that movie, but The Pursuit of Happiness, the other Oscar play.
Yeah, which people still have a fondness for. I have not seen it since it came out.
You know what?
I don't really remember it.
I don't want to be rude to this movie. I've never been able to get through it.
That's
like
fine.
I always
kind
of get bored, and I don't know.
Well, I mean, hey, this isn't always the case, but look at the director. See what else he's done. It's the same dude who does 7 Pounds.
Oh, okay, so, I did not know that.
Yeah,
yeah. This guy's done like movies I've never heard of.
Yeah, so I'm not saying just because he's made bad movies doesn't mean he only makes bad movies. But I'm saying sometimes you can read
sometimes
the tea
it's not
leaves.
Something you have to reckon with.
Yeah.
Like, Pursuit of Happiness but it was weird. Where like Pursuit of Happiness was like a massive financial hit. You know, like it was kind of like. People were like, have you seen The Pursuit? I remember, like, it was the thing where when a Will Smith movie dropped, it was like, we had to stop. Everyone had to stop and go see it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was that for a while. Like, I think After Earth is like the last time that really happened, you know?
Yeah.
And like Suicide Squad, it kind of happened, but I think that's because that was like, there was a lot of other things at play there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then before that, it's like Hitch, which that's a movie that's aged incredibly weird.
It has. Again, people have a fondness for Hitch.
Yeah. I kind of do too, even though it's like not really a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's got its moments though. But it's kind of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? He's at least kind of likable in that one.
Yeah, like the conflict is him having to get over like being unlikable for being like the ultimate pickup artist, basically.
Well, here's what's weird about that movie. Let's just do a little Hitch talk.
Okay. This is what the people come to the podcast for.
Yes.
Again, people like Hitch, so I think people will actually enjoy this.
So, Hitch seems like on the surface it has a very obvious setup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is he is a professional date doctor, which is a nice way to say pickup artist. But, to be fair, there's a point in the movie where, like, that guy's like, I just want to get with this woman to bang her, and he's like, I don't do that. I set up relationships,
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I understand that for some, like, his whole thing is that for some people, starting the relationship is the hard thing. I can get it started for you, and then you're on your own, and then you can do it after that, right? Which is like kind of like a whitewashing of pickup artistry. So it seems like the setup for the movie would be like he's this perfect date doctor. He can get anyone for anyone, but when he tries to do it, it doesn't work, right? That seems like what the obvious setup of that movie should be, you know? But that's not what the movie's about.
No.
He pursues Eva Mendes and it basically works. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's some hiccups. Like he does he kick her in the head or does she kick him in the head when they go jet skiing?
I think he kicks her in the head, but
So
I haven't seen it in a long time.
He kicks her in the head, and then they go to Ellis Island, and he has it set up where like her great grandfather's name is going to be in the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he did all that research to like wow her, and it backfires on him because it turned out her great grandfather was like a murderer. Do you remember this?
No.
It's like this is honestly a great joke in this movie. Where like she reacts really strongly, which you would expect, but then she kind of overreacts and runs away. And he's like, "Well, I didn't want that to happen." And then it cuts to them at like a diner, and he's like, "I just read Butcher of Cadiz. I thought he was a butcher." Like that's genuinely funny. You know? And then he had like food poisoning on the second date, right?
Oh, that I remember. That was a big trailer moment too.
Yeah, where he looks in the trailer and he's like, "Oh shit!" Like
Yeah.
it was like great Will Smith yelling,
Yeah.
and yeah, his whole face is puffed up. And again, it's like okay, so like it doesn't like for whatever reason he can't make it work. That's what it feels like the movie should be about, but it's not. But it's kind of about how she's a reporter who's looking for the date doctor, but just happens to start dating him. Like it's pure coincidence,
Mhm.
right? It honestly has nothing to do with what's happening.
Like it's close. You could remake Hitch
You really could
and make it
feels like-
tighter.
it feels like at one point it was one of the scripts I'm describing, and then they just changed it.
Yeah.
The B plot is Kevin James trying to get with a like big time celebrity,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just Kevin James being Kevin James.
Yeah.
For
And it's
what?
like, hey, I liked Kevin James. You know.
Yeah, I mean Kevin James when he does his shtick, it works. Like
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
don't overdo it. Like
And, you know,
Polar Ball Cop is like his shtick on bath salts, but.
Yeah.
When he like, there's a good scene of him where he's just sitting on the stairs, like eating a hot dog, and like everything that could go wrong goes wrong, and it's like really simple, but like he sells it, you know.
Yeah.
He does have a great moment. There's a great. I'm sorry, I have to just quote a funny scene from Hitch.
No, this is the Hitch podcast now.
Where Smith goes to apologize to Allegra Cole, who's the celebrity Kevin James wants to get with, and it's also this moment at the end where it's like, oh wait, none of my stuff actually worked. Like that's not why you guys fell in love. It was him. I just gave him the confidence, right? And it's Will Smith being like, "Oh, people just need confidence. Like all my shit's bullshit." Like, which again is like not what the movie's about, but it still happens.
Yeah, yeah. You can see how the threads should connect.
Yeah, it's like there's all these threads that are so obvious and should connect and don't. And the movie is just kind of things happening for 2 hours. But then so he goes to apologize, and it's like they're kind of having a laugh about like, oh, I'm actually a fraud. Kevin James was actually, he did all of it on his own. And then Kevin James shows up like coincidentally, and he's like, so this was your plan the whole time, sail into the sunset with my girl. And he tackled him, and he's like, no, he was apologizing. Kevin James sells that really well.
Yeah.
There's good moments in that movie.
I
It's
should
not a
rewatch
good
Hitch.
movie, but it's got some stuff to it. And there's a rom-com that made $370 million, which would never happen today.
No, we have to bring it back.
I don't know if we have to, but it would be nice if there were good rom-coms again.
Yeah. I liked Trouble in Paradise.
Oh yeah, I've
From
heard some
last year.
people say good things about that.
Yeah, it's from the director who made Mamma Mia 2, so it was like solid, you know?
Okay.
Although Mamma Mia 2 is like a masterwork, but
All right.
yeah.
I'm not totally on the Mamma Mia train, but I did like the Mamma Mia movies.
Okay. I like the second one significantly more than the first, for what it's worth. And since we're already here, let's talk about Shark Tale and
Yeah, it's like
iRobot.
oversaturation is like 2004, where it's like iRobot and Shark Tale,
Yeah.
which is like the first time people be like, "Is the Will Smith thing done?" Like, he's making money, but both those movies weren't reviewed very well.
Yeah. Even though iRobot is good and Shark
iRobot
Tale.
is garbage, and Shark Tale is a train wreck.
Shark Tale it kind of is, but I think it's really funny.
I think Shark Tale, though, was one of those ones where it was going to be a Jack Black movie, and then Will Smith comes in and they retool it to be a Will Smith movie.
Mhm.
I think it's one of those. And why'd they make the fish look like Will Smith?
I don't know.
You like Shark Tale? You think Shark Tale's funny?
I remember thinking it was funny. I haven't seen it in a long time.
The only joke I really remember from it is the guy living in the trash can who's like, "I'm his financial advisor." That's the only joke from that movie I remember.
Martin Scorsese's in that movie.
Martin Scorsese is in that movie.
Yeah.
That's like peak DreamWorks stunt casting.
Yeah. I mean, this is the DreamWorks face.
Yeah.
After Shrek, this is the one that solidifies it.
Yeah, he made the DreamWorks face.
Yeah.
It's weird they kept using it, even though it clearly didn't work with that movie.
Yeah.
I just remember having that movie's the one where it's like there's about 20,000 puns in that movie, like Katie Current.
Yeah, that's funny.
No, it's not.
I think it's funny.
Voiced by Katie Couric herself. It seems like it was a movie that was like pitched as like The Sopranos but with sharks, and then Jack Black's vegetarianism was going to be a metaphor for him being gay, and then they just made a Will Smith movie instead.
Well, sometimes collaborations don't work out too well.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the collaboration with Ali and Michael Mann and Will
Peter
Smith
Falk
worked out wonderfully.
is in Shark Tale.
Wait, what?
Peter Falk is Don Feinberg, an elderly leper shark.
Oh my god.
He probably has like 3 lines in that goddamn movie.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, fucking Michael Imperioli. He's fucking Jack Black's brother. Fucking Christopher.
That makes sense. That is like a slam dunk casting.
Yeah, but I don't think of that when I think of that movie.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying, like.
There's Angelina Jolie is in the movie and like adds nothing to the plot.
Oh yeah, no. There's no reason for her to be in that movie.
Yeah. Renee Zellweger, starting her career of doing weird DreamWorks movies.
Oh yeah, B movie.
Yeah, she did B movie. I think she's the only repeat in the thing in the DreamWorks era, and she picked 2 of the strangest ones. And then also, we forget he had a cameo in the Kevin Smith film Jersey Girl.
I did forget that because I have not seen that in probably the same amount of time as I haven't seen Shark Tale or Hitch.
And Kevin Smith, who likes to talk shit about everybody, I don't think I've heard him talk shit about Will Smith directly, but he has made some comments.
Oh, okay. I don't know any of this.
The only thing I know is that he was on a podcast to talk about Wild Wild West, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the main reason he was on there was because of the John Peters thing, right?
Yeah, his maybe the greatest joke ever.
Yeah, the greatest Hollywood story of all time is that. And he never brings up that he worked with Will Smith, which is odd, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think he would bring that up at some point, but he also seems to be trying to lay, from what I remember of this podcast, he was trying to lay the groundwork to be like, Will Smith is kind of the one to blame for why Wild Wild West turned out the way it did. Because he had that power. He shapes all these movies. Again, we just talked about where Shark Tale feels like it was a completely different movie that got reshaped, and Hitch feels like it was about 12 different movies that got reshaped, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has this recurring thing in his career where once he's hired for a movie, it gets like totally retooled at some point,
Yeah.
I mean, Hancock is like probably the biggest example of that. And then that's the reason why he doesn't do Django Unchained, right?
Yeah.
That Quentin was like, he's going to take over this fucking movie. And it's an odd... And Ali is probably the last time he gave himself over to a director like this. Where it's just like it doesn't become the Will Smith, like the Will Smith Ali movie that would have come 3 years later from now would have been like all like the race stuff is like the minimal, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's all just the boxing stuff. And it's all him going and like razzling fucking Howard Cosell. That would have been the version of Ali made 3 years later, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And probably would have done better at the box office.
Yeah, maybe.
And this is the last window of Will Smith where it feels like he turned himself over to a director a little bit, you know?
And I'll be honest,
is there another example that you can think of?
No. There's not. But I'll be honest. I think the only reason he even gave himself that much over to a director is because it's Michael Mann. That's because of Will Smith and anything he's bringing to the table. That's just Michael Mann. And I'm gonna paraphrase Will Smith here, or quote him directly. He said, "The education he had to go on to undergo the transformation into Muhammad Ali basically had to rewire his brain to get the vocal mannerisms, like the pacing of his words and dialect." Like
that's another thing about Will Smith. Just to talk about, is he someone where he talks about like what he does to get ready for a movie? It sounds like he breaks himself for every movie he does when he talks about it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he really does it, but that's what he talks about. And it's like, when you look at his body of work, you're like, you don't need to go that hard, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to give it to him this time because...
No, it's not, you know what? I honestly remembered being like, I like this movie. I don't know if Will Smith was the right choice for Ali, but he does a fine enough job. Like, that was my takeaway going into it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And rewatching it, he does a fantastic job. Like,
I think this is his best performance.
It might be.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about like the other best performances of his career. Like, what are his great performances?
I'm not joking. iRobot, okay. I think he's
iRobot,
great in iRobot.
I do think he gives a good performance in that. I think that movie is just built poorly.
I know you don't like Independence Day. I think in terms of like blockbuster stuff, like it's not as layered as I Am Legend, which again he's terrific in, as I've said constantly, because he's so fucking good in that movie. God damn it. Independence Day is like the blockbuster charisma performance.
The charisma he brings to Independence Day is the reason that movie made $800 million.
Yeah.
Like, Independence Day would have done well. He pushes it to $800 million.
Yeah.
But Men in Black, I think, is like the performance you can go, that's a good performance, right?
Yeah. He's, like, of course, great in the first Men in
great.
Black.
And I think he's good in I Am Legend, which is just a poorly built movie, too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's really good. Is he good in Hancock?
I think he's good in Hancock. I really do.
He does the job in Hancock, but I don't know if I don't know if he's like 100% there. But again,
no. I buy his change over the course of the movie from scumbag to guy who can do better for himself and other people around him.
You know what it is? You know what it really is for me? I just, and this is going to sound weird when we started this discussion talking about the slap, but I don't really buy Will Smith as a scumbag. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Like, because, you know, there's Suicide Squad and Bright and shit. Like, I don't buy them there. I buy it with Hancock.
Okay.
I don't really know why. I haven't, like, taken time to think about it, but I buy it there. I don't buy it basically when he's done it anytime after.
Well, you like the Bad Boys movies, right?
I love the Bad Boys movies. He's great in those.
Is he a scumbag in those, or is he just kind of like a badass?
He's a badass who he doesn't realize he's veering into scumbag territory. The second one, which is, of course, you know, the most repulsive, beautiful film ever made.
You know what? Here's what I'm saying. I'm going to rewatch those as soon as we finish recording.
You should.
So that's going to be my movie night tonight.
In Bad Boys for Life, he is genuinely good. I think that's also one of his best performances. Like, genuinely, like, I can recommend it.
I'm not going to make an argument here that he's a bad actor. I just, like, when it comes to, like, transcendent performances, you know what I'm saying?
I do, yeah. And, like, I think most people would agree with that, frankly. Like, people still liked his like, oh, Will Smith has another movie coming out, you know?
Ali's one of the few times where, like, he kind of tried to become someone, you know?
Yeah.
And he does it. Concussion is the other one, but that doesn't really go anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
which I don't have a strong concussion take. So, but other than maybe we should look into why shit keeps happening to NFL players.
Yeah.
But hey,
Or maybe I could direct people to a little movie called The Last Boy Scout.
hey, oh yeah, that movie did do that like 20 years before.
Yeah. This is what keeps happening in Hollywood, is that someone will make like a semi-radical critical film about something in like a various industry or like political context. And then 20 years later, someone will be like, hey, we should do a movie about that because it's never been talked about before.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you just don't pay attention to it. It happens. It's fine. You don't have to apologize.
Yeah.
Just,
Shit happens.
Yeah, take a second, do some research.
I
You
just
still
think
do
it's
that
funny.
movie.
I just think it's funny that this movie, Ali, comes out. And like a lot of the reviews feel like people going, why is this Ali movie so political? And it's like, like he defied the draft. Like he changed his name to Muhammad Ali. Like he's one of the most overtly political sports figures of all time. Like it's just funny to me that people were kind of like, I can't believe this. Like, why did they focus so much on the politics of Ali?
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous. And
this movie is also coming in the wake of the documentary When We Were Kings, which I've brought up. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
I think it's on Criterion right now. And Criterion put out a copy of it recently, which was one of the first that was the first time it had been like re-released in like forever. Like I had it on VHS up until like 5 years ago. Was the only way I could really watch it. And it's a great documentary specifically about the Rumble in the Jungle fight, It's just about that. And I believe it won an Academy Award for Best Documentary. It was one of those like crossover hit documentaries. It made $2 million at the box office, which doesn't normally happen for documentaries in the 90s.
No. It fucking doesn't happen now.
Yeah. Yeah, won Best documentary in 96 for the Academy Awards. So really it's really a good documentary, but that is more just like it's about the fight, It's about all the shit that went into putting the fight together, all the characters involved. It does open though with Muhammad Ali saying "Goddamn America," which is kind of the most political that documentary gets.
Yeah, well, some of the responses I'm seeing, like critically from the time, was like USA Today gave it 2.5 stars out of 4 and said like, maybe good enough for Ali fans, but the documentaries, aka Cassius Clay and When We Were Kings, like they cover a lot of the same ground and it's consistently more engaging, which is maybe like the worst take you could ever have about a movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It would be weird to be in that time. Like I can't put myself back in what it was like because also it is like a big deal that it's like this is the Ali movie,
Mm-hmm.
And he's such an important figure that I don't know if there was a movie that could have met those expectations totally.
Yeah.
But also, man did take it in a direction I think was unexpected.
Yeah.
I think everyone expected the Ali movie to start with Ali as a child. And the story about, like, he got his bike stolen, and his parents were like, you have to learn to defend yourself, so go train for boxing, so in case someone tries to steal your stuff again, you can take it back. Like, that's the, like, obvious way to start an Ali movie.
Yeah. And I would say that's not even a bad way to start the Ali movie,
Not the worst. It's not the worst, but it's also, like, the obvious one,
Yeah.
And I think also Man probably understood where it's like, I can't do this guy's whole career. I can only do X number of stuff and cover all the important things he did,
Mm-hmm.
I think this movie basically covers about a decade of his life,
Yeah.
Like, it goes from like 60...
He got married 3 times in a decade. That's kind of fucking wild.
What was that?
He got married 3 times in a decade. That's kind of fucking wild.
Hey, guys, people are complicated.
Oh, boy, are they. We're going to get into that.
Yeah. Although I wonder, I don't know, I think his, like, getting married, I think they kind of condensed some of the getting married stuff. Like, the third relationship that comes up in this movie is more just like, this is what's coming, but I think he got married like a few years later. Like that divorce happens later. But I don't know. And then of course at the end of the movie even ends with like, and that relationship ended in divorce. Like
Yeah.
it's a little epilogue of the movie. So, but
We can talk
I
about
think
the opening because talk about like unconventional.
yeah,
Like the rhythm to it. It's there used to be this amazing Michael Mann video essay on YouTube that has since been taken down. There was no narration to it. It was simply matching the rhythms, the recurring themes and imagery in Michael Mann movies. It was like 16 minutes long. I would watch it like all the fucking time. It was so good. It comes out pre-Black Hat.
Is it anywhere? Like, is it on like?
There is a condensed version available.
Okay.
On I found it after searching fruitlessly for someone else who had uploaded it. WGA fucking took it down, fuckers.
Of course. But
so I will link it in the description for people to watch.
I would like to watch that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you after this too. It's terrific. It's like 5 minutes instead of the 16, so it's not the full picture. But watching that and then revisiting Ali, it's like the same vibe, and I mean that in the best way possible. This person completely captured the tone of the opening of this movie, and Michael Mann, I think, completely captured the tone of like, all right, we're in the thick of it. We're experiencing all these different sensory feelings, versus the sounds, the life of Ali.
If there's any criticism I have, and this isn't even like a big criticism, is I don't think the rest of the movie is as good as the first 30 minutes of this movie.
I would agree, and I think that's how everyone feels.
Yeah, like it's like the beginning of this movie is incredible,
Mm-hmm.
And I think people were just thrown by it. Like it is in 2001. This is a weird way to start a movie,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're already at him fighting Sonny Liston,
Mm-hmm.
Like we're already at all this shit. Like we go through like it is such a quick montage of like fucking where does Bundy Brown come in, like of just like a moment where it's like, yep, this is where he showed up, and this is where he showed up, and this is where we get the brief shot of him as a child where the guy shoves the newspaper in his face about the Emmett Till murders, which is a wild moment.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like all set to him jogging and fucking Sam Cooke. It's just like, what the fuck, man? Like,
yeah, it's oh my god, it's terrific. If
so
you wanted to like capture like a particular vibe of like all these different subjects that the movie covers, like there's no better way to open the movie. I never would have thought of this,
Yeah.
Like no, I don't know anyone who would have thought of this besides Michael Mann.
Yeah. And then it's like we see him, and now we see like the beginnings of him falling in with like the Nation of Islam and Malcolm X. And for the first hour of this movie, it's like basically that Malcolm X is like a co-lead of the movie, like, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah,
and a very different portrayal of Malcolm X than what you would expect in a movie. Played by Mario Van Peebles, who does a great job. And it's weird to watch Malcolm X. There's a lot of scenes in Malcolm X where he isn't being scary. Which it feels like every other white director on the planet would just find an excuse to make Malcolm X scary the whole movie.
Of course. I mean, how often do you still hear that, well, Professor X is Martin Luther King Jr. and Magneto is Malcolm X? And it's like, that's wrong on so many levels.
Well, I'm not saying that's true, but wasn't that the intent of that comic, though?
I think that was like...
I'm not saying
that
it's
was kind
accurate
of
to history. Just
that was a retroactive thing I think they tried to explain. That was their intention. I don't know how accurate that is.
It matches the neoliberal politics of the early Marvel stuff,
Yes.
Like denouncing bigotry, but also being like, hey, don't get too radical, know?
Which maybe makes the current crop of Marvel movies the most like comic accurate shit ever, but whatever, we're not into that.
But that was a big, that's why it's cool. We're in the X-Men comics for a while. Magneto was good and was actually teaching the X-Men, of like, how do I keep my radical beliefs, but also keep Charles Xavier's dream alive? And that was cool. And then he became a villain again because Grant Morrison was pissed off.
No.
But hey, that's a whole other story.
Rare Grant Morrison L.
No, that's I kind of get where he was coming from there. where he was not happy with Marvel.
Mm,
But hey, that's a whole other story.
yeah.
But yeah, like Malcolm X not being terrifying all the time to white people. Like we see him in a domestic setting, and we see him at like kind of a low point, of
Mhm.
like he's lost kind of his power because it's the Nation of Islam kind of maneuvering around him,
Yeah.
kind of being like we can't afford to have Malcolm X as part of the organization anymore. And we see a scene where like fucking Ali turns his back on him, and like that's a weird like I just can't think of a movie where it's like a scene like that with Malcolm X happens,
Hmm.
where he's you can see he's hurt, like I he's not so few movies shy away from portraying Malcolm X as a human being
Yeah.
who had like a wife and had friends, and the fallout between him and Ali like hurt him as a person, and it hurt Ali as well.
Yeah.
And that's where we see what this movie is really about, which is about the forces of the U.S. government manipulating Muhammad Ali.
And his fight against it, his fight
Yeah,
for his own like autonomy and identity.
I mean it's a lot. It's a lot of how do you maintain yourself when you become because he becomes this lightning rod, right? Like Ali, because he's the greatest. Everyone wants a piece of him. The Nation of Islam wants a piece of him. The government wants a piece of him, and it's all these people trying to control him and marginalize him and who he can be. And it's a movie about his journey to find out how do I maintain my autonomy and how do I use my standing for like social good, right?
Hmm.
That's what the movie is about. And I guess people just didn't want that.
Yeah, yeah. And like we see this a lot with movies. Like this isn't like isolated to just Ali, but like people have a preconceived notion about like, well, this movie's like clearly gonna try to do this. Like this movie's about this plot or whatever, this character.
Yeah.
So it has to be like this. And if it's not, it doesn't matter if it's successful in what it was trying to do, people will reject it immediately.
Mhm.
And some people can go back to it later and be like, oh, I was wrong. What this movie's doing is special in its own
Yeah.
way, you know. But if people just don't like it up front, it's going to take a second for people to find it. And this has like a commemorative uh, Blu-ray release now.
Mm.
Like it's a new version of it. There's the director's cut from after this movie's initial release, and then in 2017 is the commemorative cut, which is basically available everywhere now, I believe.
Yeah.
Because Michael Mann likes to go back and re-edit his stuff, which
Yeah.
is hey, whatever.
I think one of the versions, it's where it like gets shorter and gets longer at one point, like the length of the movie, between
Yeah.
edits. And it's also like he put more scenes of the government in some of the versions.
Yeah, he cut one fight from the most
Oh,
recent
yeah.
version of it.
Yeah. Man is weird with the editing. Like,
He
I'm not saying he's
is.
wrong. It's just like it's odd, like how he keeps tinkering with his movies.
Yeah. And the Black Cat Michael Mann cut is not like available anywhere yet, and it will not be available in the upcoming 4K release of Black Cat that's coming out
Which
later
makes
this
that
year.
entirely worthless, in my opinion.
No,
But,
no, it's still worth it. It's just the quote one of the people from that production company were saying was that it wasn't for lack of trying, and I don't know anything more than that, but it must be some like maybe Universal or something is like who gives a fuck, don't touch anything because that was a Universal movie.
I'm
So.
not happy about it.
I'm not happy about it either. I'm not
Yeah.
blaming anyone. I'm just saying like that sucks. It should be
And I will
available.
not be buying that 4K.
No,
Because also the cover art sucks.
it's not. It's not the best. No.
Not the best.
No.
I'm glad some people were trying, apparently, but I'm not going to give you money just for trying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's not half-assed this time. It's just like, okay, this one didn't work. I prefer that, than another floating head poster,
Yeah.
which is
I
all what
guess.
posters are now.
Well, with Michael Mann, it just has to say Black Hat, and it just has to be like a fucking circuit board or something.
Yeah, I mean, I like the original poster that the movie had with like the Chris Hemsworth and Black Cat in the center, and then
it
it's like
does its
it makes it
job.
look. It makes it look like a barcode on the bottom of the poster, which is
But
so
also,
cool.
like, I like the one Heat Blu-ray that is just the Los Angeles skyline.
Oh yeah,
Like, they just do that with Man. Like, You don't need any actors on the cover.
Yeah, you kind of don't.
You don't need to get creative with it at all.
Well, because he is such like a minimalist, like
Yeah.
in what he puts in his frames. It's all like these big ethereal like ideas and themes and like
And that's
just
why
scope.
Red Dragon is visually better than Manhunter.
I'm gonna beat the nostalgia critic.
It's so wild that was like his deciding factor. Like, can you imagine being that wrong?
You know, I've never been wrong, so I wouldn't know.
But like that wrong. It's
Yeah,
one
like
thing to be
criminally wrong.
It's like, because like here's the thing: someone could come to me and be like, "Look, I just like Red Dragon more," right? And like they're wrong, but whatever. But to be like, it came down to the visuals, and it was like,
Well,
Red
I
Dragon.
remember seeing his criticism about Manhunter too. Also, where he was like, "Well, Graham's just standing in front of a blank white wall in like a corner full of dead flowers."
I don't
Like,
remember
hey.
anything visually about Manhunter.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, maybe that's the image.
Yeah,
What you just described, that's the image he's conveying. There might be a reason for that. It's not fucking subtle either, which is so fucking stupid. I will say, Ali, like stuff happens so like not just quickly, but so like visually, like it doesn't call attention to itself visually very much, but it's doing some truly incredible shit, like with the lighting. This is the first time Man's experimenting with digital cameras too. Like you mentioned the jogging stuff in the opening of the movie, which all shot on like what at the time were like $200 cameras, consumer grade cameras. Now you could probably get them on eBay for like $25.
Hey,
so it's like they're all, yeah. I mean, hey, go nuts with them. I'm not saying that's negative at all. And Michael Mann has this quote about like when he's filming Will Smith overlooking like the night sky with the cameras, and he's like, "Oh, does it feel like I'm right there?" And it was because they're doing the digital photography now, and like you can do so much more, so much faster, and it changes his whole approach to movie making, basically. Well, not whole approach, because Michael Mann definitely still has his way of making things, you know.
Is this like the beginning of that though? Like, is this the beginning of that shift in him?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other movie we've covered of Mann's is The Insider.
Yeah.
Which is just before Ali. Another Oscar play that didn't really go anywhere.
No, but they all fucking should have. His '90s run is like untouchable.
This movie actually flopped though. Like,
I meant critically, but yeah.
No, it didn't make money.
No, yeah. No, this one didn't make money.
Yeah, I think Insider did Insider flop? I can't even remember.
I know we fucking talked about it too. I don't remember.
Yeah, it didn't make money. Well, it's one of those things where it's like, man makes an unimpeachably great movie. I don't even give a shit if it made money. You know, it's like, this is undeniably a good movie.
Yeah, which is how we should be talking about movies, you know?
Yeah. Well, sometimes it is like, I want to know what the general public response was, but like, also I'm like, with Man, I'm just kind of like, fuck the public.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's the further reading aspect of it. Like, I mean, the big discussion about Avatar 2 was everyone was watching the box office. But it wasn't because we wanted it to beat whatever. I mean, some people did, but no one was like, I hope it beats whatever, Titanic and Avengers. And it was just like, are we going to get those sequels? And now, not only did it make enough to get the immediate sequels, we can, like, kind of hype ourselves up. Like, is there more? Would he want to do more? You know? But yeah, I agree with you. Like, I don't care that Black Hat is like one of Universal's biggest bombs ever. Like, I love that movie. I can just see that movie now wherever on my Blu-ray or the director's cut copy that I have on my hard drive. But it's like,
are you advertising people come to your home and steal your hard drive?
No. But I do love that Film Twitter rallied around each other for like that 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, everyone, what's your emails if you're curious about what I have in my Google Drive today? If you want like a link or downloadable file to something that is a little harder to track down at the moment because it's been taken off of every possible viewing option. But hey, you know. Ali. Emmanuel Lubezki shoots the shit out of this.
Yes.
It looks so fucking fantastic. The boxing is really great in this too. It's so fucking different from like the brutality of something like Raging Bull, you know?
Mhm.
And it doesn't have like the sportsmanship of like the Rocky stuff where you're cheering and hollering. Like it's not just he's photographing like a fight with two characters. There's like, it almost feels like you're watching like ballet or something,
Mhm.
you know? Like you're just watching like these bodies like in motion, like dancing around each other and like into each other. Like it's a very interesting viewing experience for me. I don't see boxing shot
Well,
like
Ali was
this.
such a unique boxer that it would have been a mistake to shoot the boxing a little more traditionally.
Yeah.
Just be like, here's him winning. Like that would have been a mistake. But you know what's what? You know what's another thing I think that was off-putting about this movie is that a huge chunk of this movie is about Ali not being able to box. Like
Yeah.
that's an odd choice. Like
Which is probably another reason why people were turned off by it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a huge chunk of this movie is like the government will not let him box, which is just kind of wild to think about. It's like there's like two boxing matches early on, and then it's like almost immediately goes into Nation of Islam stuff. Malcolm X gets assassinated. His first relationship, which I guess that's the other thing, is that this is where Will Smith meets Jada Pinkett.
Yeah.
So this is the beginning of that as well. Then it just goes into the government being like, we got to do something about Ali, and then it leads to the Vietnam thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is what it is kind of wild that this movie like just goes like, yeah, the government like just totally trying to shut Ali up and weaken him by making him fight in Vietnam.
Yeah. I mean, like, because it's a radical statement to say that was the case. It also was, the case.
But, like,
but it does feel like people still don't talk about like, hey, like, no, the government has done plenty of evil shit. They do try to shut, like, there's
well, the movie
conspiracy
is 100%
theories.
like the government is responsible for the death of Malcolm X.
Yeah,
And
I mean
you
that
can
one's
even
fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can even see the scene where they're like, and look, here he is with Martin Luther King. We got to do something about him too. And they never go that deep on the Martin Luther King stuff. By the way, fucking LeVar Burton as Martin Luther King Jr. in this.
I know. You know what? Great casting choice.
Great casting. I don't think he has any lines.
No, but it's a terrific, like...
Good choice.
Yeah, it's a terrific choice. There you go.
Yeah, it's... but, like, it is a thing of, like, the movie is a large part of it is the government trying to weaken, and, like, any sort of civil rights movement. It's really what the movie's about. Like, that they're pitting organizations against each other. I mean, they're fracturing the Nation of Islam on purpose, right? Like they are teaming up with Elijah Muhammad to help bring down Malcolm X, and then they're going to use that to help fucking get rid of Ali, and then they're going to go after Martin Luther King. And it's maybe reason why it's like maybe that's why there's never been this rallying point for the civil rights movement since then, like that it's like that sort of fracturing is just what they do constantly now. But the wild card in it is Muhammad Ali, who was the undisputed greatest boxer of his era. Like no matter what you do, you couldn't take that away from him. Just a few years ago was the whole like Colin Kaepernick thing, right? Which was like the other example of like an undisputedly great athlete like being sidelined because he's protesting, but because that was football, no one, you can't convince those people to believe in anything.
Yeah, I mean, no, they just believe in like, hey,
football is so much about dehumanizing people. It really is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even making a joke.
No.
Like, it's just pure violence. It is a celebration of American brutality. And everything about how the athletes are even dressed is designed to obscure them as human beings. People only really know quarterbacks and no one else on the team.
Look, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I am also saying like if you're gonna like pummel into other people, like
that
you probably
Super Bowl
should wear a
shit
helmet.
They pulled this year was such bullshit. Just with the
military. Yeah, fuck that.
That was so evil. And I might be feeling a little stronger about this because the Eagles did lose in the Super Bowl this year. So I maybe have some stronger
No. But what you're referring to is the Pat Tillman bit, right?
Yeah, which is like one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. put on television, and there will be no consequences. There will be no complaints. The NFL will lose no money. Nothing will happen because every year people just going to sit down and watch football, you know, and football is responsible for the end of democracy in the United States. It's somewhere like, boxers, it is the two people in the ring. We know who they are. And football is just human bodies being thrown against each other and used for the military machine. It's why it's in Starship Troopers, goddammit.
And Attack of the Clones.
And yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah, not even a joke.
Yeah, it is.
Might be a point to that.
Might be. Although, allegedly, one of Lucas's big things was he was obsessed with what kind of sports and entertainment people in the Star Wars galaxy watched. Like when they kept trying to make the Star Wars show in like the last years that he owned it, they kept saying that like the budgets kept ballooning because he kept wanting to add sports to it. And it got to the point where like an individual episode would cost as much as a movie.
That's amazing.
So Lucas, weird guy, that George Lucas.
No, but hey, he's got his ideas are always like at least sound foundationally. Yeah. And he's got the right mindset, like approaching this like world building stuff.
Yeah. There's no reason not to at least meet with him before doing a Star Wars movie. You know? Yeah. Just be like, what would you do? And then you take the 3 good things he says. But hey, fuck football. I'm so angry now. Pat Tillman thing, that thing really, like, I sat down to watch the game. I never watch football, honestly. Like, I'm just like, I know my family really cares, and like that's how they started it, and I was basically like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, it was, and so.
Yeah, I'm Googling Pat Tillman right now. Super Bowl doesn't pop up. I have to type in Super Bowl.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares. They really don't. I mean.
Here you go. BuzzFeed reported on it, at least.
Yeah, but who cares about BuzzFeed anymore?
No one. I know.
BuzzFeed actually does some fine reporting, but people are still kind of in the, like, BuzzFeed does the quizzes thing.
Yeah.
Which is, like, hasn't really been a part of their brand in about a decade, so. But, yeah. At some point, we really need to do something about how bad the NFL is. Like, if we can't get any momentum there, like, we're not doing anything, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I get that that's like a giant dragon of like our culture, but it's at least every now and then people are throwing rocks at the entertainment industry. Like, football is just people. Not only do they not do anything, they rally behind it. And you know what it's gonna take? One of these days, one of those fucking jets they fly over a stadium is gonna hit the stadium. Like, something's gonna go wrong. That will happen one day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Law of averages. Mm-hmm. One day some fucking shit's going to go wrong, and then we're going to have to be like, should we be flying jets over stadiums? It's like, why were we ever doing that? How could people complain about their tax dollars going to, like, schools and not, like, jets flying over stadiums?
Yeah, recently I did hear that, like, well, you know, like, when, if a trans person goes to prison, like, the government does have to still continue funding, like, their medicine for transitions, right? It's like, that's where our tax dollars are going. And I was like, okay. Like,
I would have,
all right.
like, I don't know who this person is, Diego, but I would have started swinging. Like, really,
I got close. I was in a public setting. This was a while back now.
I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm blowing this conversation up.
Maybe I should have killed that person.
Like, yeah, that is one of those where I'm like, you fuck. Like, that's that moment, you know, like, I have that thing where it's just like reflexively like, you're a fucking moron. Like, I just say it at some point, which doesn't de-escalate anything. No. But I have my breaking point in that one. I'm now mad at this person I will never meet.
No, you should be. It is a stupid fucking statement.
Yeah. I'm picturing, I got that Joe Pesci in Casino when he beats that guy at the bar.
Yeah, that.
It's like, that image
probably
is
the right approach.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, yeah. You know?
Yeah. And then, you know, just immediately, now you mentioned it, like, my mind just cuts to the jets to fly, because it's not just like the Super Bowl. Like, we do jet flight stuff here. Like, the Blue Angels are like a popular like thing in Southern California.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why are we doing this?
Yeah. country is so addicted to war. Like, it really is. It's addicted to war. Like, it is so disgusting.
Addicted to war, symbols of power, stuff that like makes might feel right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all this country like has.
You know what I've been
Look
noticing
how great
lately?
we are.
This is not to be like a little doom and gloom. I'm not trying to be with this, but there's something I was noticing. There's been a lot of right-wing attacks on the military lately. Have you noticed this?
I have not.
There's been a lot of, this is what our military is now. It's too weak. They would never be able to stand up to Putin, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of that lately. And it's a weirdly under-discussed thing. And it's our military guys, because now like this is going to sound, but our military is in a sense progressive because they allow a diverse amount of people in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because we need a lot of different people in, they're not doing it for good reasons. They're doing it because it gets more bodies in the battle, right? Like, mm-hmm. I'm not trying to give our military a pass, but there's been a shit, like our military is no longer like what it was in Vietnam, right? Of just like, we're going to break you and turn you into soldiers. There's a lot more emphasis on team building and shit like that. And it's a lot looser with our troops. And this is being singled out as a mistake, right? That systematic abuse of our troops is no longer happening. And that's a problem. And again, this is like it's like the Catholic Church thing, which Diego and I had a Catholic Church discussion before we started recording about like, yes, they are doing progressive things, but like it's on a gradient scale compared to the Catholic Church,
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I was like, why are they going after the military so much? And then it's like, oh, it's the police. The police are an unregulated military arm now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the right is gearing up to pit the police against the military. That's 100% what's happening. Because the military is, I mean, the police are basically the military with no oversight and no consequences,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, that's how they're going to get that's how the Republicans are going to get their own private army. They're going to just buddy up with the police. That's the play. And noticing that was pretty infuriating. So, just there's a preview of what's to come, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Also, how many stories do we hear about like tax dollars that were lost when people blocked a highway? Those, like, they go around. Meanwhile, like every 3 fucking weeks, they shut down the highway around here because a cop died.
Oh, that must be fucking miserable.
Yeah. When they do those like huge parades, you've seen videos of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do them constantly.
Oh, they did a fucking massive one that like stretched for like miles and miles on a freeway like past me. But it was so fucking long and miserable that it fucked up like transportation for like a day.
What message is that sending to the community? It is not a message of support for this officer who died, right?
No, it's saying that they're more important than everything else we're doing.
It's a flexing of power is 100% what it is.
Yeah.
It's because they are waging war on communities.
Yeah. I mean, police are like the most deadly gang in the world.
Ali from 2001 played a little better these days than it did before the September. Actually, no, right after the September 11th attacks. Maybe that's also why people didn't respond to it.
You know what?
Because
I was trying to think of a way to bring it to 9/11, but I was like, that'll do it. Yeah.
Because
that makes sense.
It's a lot about the Nation of Islam and stuff like that, and it's not like Islam 100% evil, which would have played gangbusters in December of 2001. But it's like, no, it's its own organization. It's got issues. But Ali was a proud Muslim. Something he brought up when Donald Trump tried to pass the Muslim ban, and then Donald Trump pardoned him and took credit after he died. Remember this?
No, I don't.
So, like, he never got.
I remember the Muslim ban.
What?
I remember the Muslim ban.
Yeah, well, there was a Muslim ban. Ali, one of the last things he did before he died, because he dies in like 2016, 2017, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, he died recently.
Yeah, fairly recently. He died like right before Trump got elected. And Ali had like released a statement being like, Mr. Trump, what you're saying about Muslims, I think, is wrong. And it was like one of the things, he hadn't really released like a big statement like that in a while, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm a Muslim, like this, you're persecuting my people. Then he dies. Donald Trump is elected president. And one of the things he does is posthumously pardons Ali for the whole like draft thing, right? And it was his way of kind of just being like, see, I did a good thing for Ali. Ali would have been on my side. And it's like, even though we have direct evidence that no, he would not have been.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that's like, it doesn't even crack the top 100 of awful things that Donald Trump did. So.
Yeah. I mean, this is the good thing about like modern technology and social medias is that like we have empirical evidence and proof of like all the bullshit these people do. They're still going to lie about it, but it's just like more people can wake up to it if they're open to waking up to it. You know, some people are just too far gone. That's unfortunately the way it is. But some people could start noticing more that like, oh, hey, this person is a liar and they're fucked up and I shouldn't listen to them.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the wrong way to live my life. You know, which doesn't happen very often, but it doesn't never happen. You know, it gives us a little more of a fighting chance, at least. Maybe that's too optimistic, but that's where I'm at today.
Yeah, I'm both optimistic and also like just very frustrated.
Yeah,
of just the state of the world.
I do feel like I've been more embracing of like nihilism lately. You know what I mean? But nihilism isn't always negative either. You know what I mean? I'm kind of at the nothing matters, but also like, oh yeah, nothing matters. That means like so much more can matter, which maybe is not true nihilism. I don't know. I'm figuring shit out on my own.
Nihilism's complicated because it's like there's that version of nihilism, but there's also like the edgelord version of nihilism.
Yeah, that's like I mentioned nihilism now only because that's the only touchstone I have for like what I'm feeling nowadays. But I wouldn't call myself a nihilist or anything like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not waving a flag. I'm just like, I think this is more accurate to my feelings these days. I think. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but not in a negative way, frankly.
I don't know. None of this has anything to do with Ali.
No. Oh, faith. Faith doesn't have to be religious.
Yeah, sure. That's a good point.
Yeah. I got some of those.
You want to break down the cast of Ali?
Oh my God!
It wouldn't really work to just go in order.
No,
like of scenes, but
no,
got a hell of a cast.
All right, so we talked about Will Smith already. Jamie Foxx, we have not talked about.
Yeah, we talked about Jamie Foxx as, excuse me, as Bundy Brown, who's like basically the guy who like says the shit that Ali ends up saying. You know, he kind of taught Ali like the way, like I don't know how to say it, like the vernacular and shit like that. He was his corner man. Mm-hmm. Kind of a guy just hung around with Ali for years. Everyone thought he was crazy, but he was a really interesting figure in his life. This is Jamie Foxx's first team up with a man, right?
That's right. This is, I think, when he talked to him about Miami Vice, and he was like, "Man, why don't you do Miami Vice?"
Yeah, and this is like this weird like 3-movie run that like ends on like terrible terms with them.
Yeah,
like, which is just wild to think about, like that. Because like he's good in this, and he's good in Collateral, and he's good in Miami Vice. Like,
yeah, Jamie Foxx. We talked about it on the Miami Vice episode, but like he's a really talented artist and like a personality. You know, like he gives a performance, but he also like he's engaging to watch in interviews. Yeah. Nowadays, you can see when people are just like not that compelling to watch anymore. My sort of like barometer for this is like Hot Ones. You can kind of see who's interesting and who's not. Just because, like, the spice makes people, like, reveal their true selves. You can't hide behind a facade when you're crying your eyes out and shit. I don't know if Jamie Foxx is ever on Hot Ones, but Jamie Foxx is, like, very engaging to watch. If people have heard him give his pitch for his Mike Tyson movie, it makes me want to watch a Mike Tyson movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Remember when he was on SNL and for the promote Django Unchained? And he made some joke about shooting white people, and like the right-wing blogosphere freaked out for like 7 months.
No, but that just the description of that makes me kind of like it more.
Mm-hmm. It was part of some joke because SNL's a comedy show. But
is it?
Yeah. But I know it might be hard to believe these days. But did something insane happen on SNL again recently? I don't pay attention.
As of the day of recording, the like 2 days ago, this past weekend, Woody Harrelson was hosting, and in his opening monologue, he's given what I believe is the pre-approved monologue, and then I don't know if it was pre-approved, but there's a moment I caught only the moment where he immediately nosedives into anti-vaxxing dog whistle bullshit.
Oh boy!
And he's like, the cartel wants you to put their drugs in your body, and you can't leave your house unless you put their drugs in your body. And I was like, oh no! Woody Harrelson,
why is that in his opening of SNL?
I don't know.
Did it have anything to do with what he was saying beforehand?
I didn't see what he was saying beforehand, but I was
maybe he was doing a bit.
God.
Like that's a. Wow.
I hope it was a bit. People's reactions online maybe is not in support of that belief.
Yeah, that's interesting. The only thing I saw was that he did like a parody of The Whale, which looked like disgusting, but he did it, and then he got an honorary jacket from Scarlett Johansson.
What?
Because I just googled Woody Harrelson, and it's like, Woody Harrelson pushes popular COVID-19 conspiracy theories. Elon Musk, I guess, responded well to it. And then it says, Woody Harrelson receives Saturday Night Live honorary jacket from Scarlett Johansson.
What the fuck? Was she there?
I guess.
Huh.
You know Woody Harrelson's father was a hitman?
I actually did know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was that famous story where he tried to do like an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, and they only wanted to ask him about his father. And then that didn't happen afterwards.
Did Woody Harrelson ever work with Michael Mann?
I don't think so.
No, yeah. That would have been cool once upon a time.
That's right. I looked up because I went to Woody Harrelson's Wikipedia page to look up politics, and he just seems like really anti-war. And he's pro-marijuana, but
he stopped smoking apparently.
Oh, did he? What did something change in him?
Maybe, which is maybe what led to that little outburst at SNL.
But it is him being like it's one of those like he compared Obama to Nixon. And then you're like, well, what does that mean? And it's like, for failing to withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan. I was like, okay.
All right, yeah. And it's like, hey, look, like, Big Pharma is like a genuine, like, evil entity.
But you know what? He could, the weed thing honestly made me believe it more that he would be, because that's like, like a lot of that verges on the weird, like, self-help people, like the wellness people, who are like, yeah, just natural shit, man. If it grows in the ground, it's fine. Also, don't take medicine ever. But hey.
I mean, hey, I hope he's like, hey, sorry, I was like, hi, I need to clarify some things. That would be the dream right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love him as an actor.
Oh no, he's a wellness nut. Yeah, he's a wellness nut.
God damn it.
He's got a raw vegan diet.
No.
Yeah, and he's been promoting COVID-19 conspiracy theories.
No.
Connecting him to the 5G network.
No.
Remember that one? He doesn't believe in germ theory. And he finds that face masks as a preventative measure against COVID-19 is, quote, absurd. I'm sick of, like, you're wearing a mask and you think it contains your breath. But if it did, you'd die. You'd be breathing your own carbon monoxide. Wow, this guy's a genius.
Oh, this is so upsetting.
I love this. Oh, it has this quote from SNL, which I'm not going to read, but at the bottom it says, Harrelson's remarks were widely criticized online, although they were praised by Elon Musk. What a fucking cool world we live in.
Oh, this sucks. This all sucks.
Woody Harrelson's a good actor. It's a shame.
Yeah, that's a real fucking bummer.
Yeah, no, it's a bummer.
Lie. I bummed you out earlier about something else. This is what I get.
This is, yeah. Shit came home to roost.
Oh man.
Uh,
You know who doesn't bum me out? World-renowned actor John Voight. I'm
What the
so
fuck?
sad. And
I'm reading.
miserable.
I'm just reading Woody Harrelson quotes. They're all kind of nutty. Hey, his father was a hitman. That might do some shit to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
All right, yeah, John Voight's also in this
John
as
Voight, totally
Howard
cool and normal
Cosell.
guy.
Yeah, no, another fucked up individual. Well,
Yeah.
significantly fucked up individual. Woody
Who is
Harrelson's
like,
just an idiot, apparently.
God damn it. This is one of those times where like the makeup really did make him look like Howard Cosell. Like he does not look like John Voight in this fucking movie.
No, it fucking threw me for a loop. It's kind of amazing.
Also, in a hysterical Academy move, the two actors nominated, obviously, Will Smith as Ali, of course, but in this movie with a predominantly black cast, the only other Oscar nomination went to John Voight.
It's so clearly teed up for like Jamie Foxx to get the best supporting actor.
Well, no, either Jamie Foxx or I would make a strong argument for Mario Van Peebles as Malcolm X.
I would accept that argument.
Who is like, he's only in the first hour of the movie, but he does a fucking fantastic job. It might be a little hard to do that post Denzel Malcolm X, but I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, he is amazing. Yeah, fuck John Voight. The scenes with Muhammad Ali and Howard Cosell are like magic.
They're great.
They are so delightful in a movie which is addressing stuff that is not delightful. Like,
yeah.
and nor should it handle the subject matter lightly, right? But like it was like they're your moments of reprieve almost, where it's like he's got someone kind of not looking out for him so much, but a guy who's like he can kind of friendly spar with verbally instead of physically.
And a lot of the stuff they're doing, it might not have happened exactly the way you're seeing it, but a lot of the comments they exchanged were real comments and things that happened between them.
There's a terrific scene with Will Smith and John Voight when he's fucking gearing up to fight. Who the fuck does he fight? Joe Frazier, right? He's calling his shot. And he's going on saying like, I don't. This is real. This is the part that's real. This is the real footage. This is real stuff that happened. Where he's saying like he doesn't know if he's going to be fighting anymore. He might be through fighting.
Well, it's funny.
But here's how it would go down.
That, right before that, where they have like a deadly serious conversation, right? We're like off the air where they're like, he's like, Ali, I'm not sure like we can do this. Like I'm a broadcaster. Like remember like there's that scene.
Yeah.
And then we go to them on the air and it's back to them doing their like bits, like, which is great.
But it's that the fight of the century speech, and it's fucking electric. And this is Michael Mann's obsession with putting Moby into movies. And
Moby
it works.
Maybe not the perfect choice for.
No, I think it's like again like ethereal. Like this movie just like operates on like a separate plane of existence at times. And I'm like ready for Will Smith to fuck some people up, at the end of it.
Well,
and
that's when the movie really succeeds. It really does get you in that mindset of like when Ali would talk, you'd be like, "Fuck yeah!" Like,
yeah, you feel like you can do anything,
Which when you're watching Will Smith as Muhammad Ali, that could be a disaster to watch him do that Ali shit. Like it just wouldn't work at all. But it works here. Like they got it, and part of it is this him. And Voight as Cosell. Weird late. John Voight has a weird run in the 90s.
Well, he's an Anaconda, which is terrific.
What was that?
He's an Anaconda, and he is terrific in it.
Where he's doing like 7 different accents at once.
He fucking commits to that shit so hard. I think he's great. I love Anaconda, by the way.
I don't know if I like Anaconda. I like monster movies. Anaconda's kind of like mixed on me a little bit.
I've seen it like a dozen times.
Because so much of that movie is about like John Voight trying to trick them into going the way he wants to go.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that accent? It is so ridiculous.
I have no idea. But he's really good here too.
You know what would have made Anaconda a perfect movie? Honestly. Like when he gets to that ending where he's trying to use them as bait to like get the Anaconda to show up, which is so stupid, but
yeah, it rules.
When he's doing that, he should have dropped the accent completely. And been like, yeah, I was fucking around. Like, I was trying to pretend I was like some fucking old like navigator guy, and I don't need to do that anymore because we're all about to die. Like,
You know what? That would have been incredible. Yeah.
this is the same year he played FDR in Pearl Harbor.
Oh God. Oh my God. What happened?
Did he just borrow the makeup? Did they just take the makeup from Pearl Harbor and put a little more on him for Ali?
Yeah. He's like, oh, sorry, Michael. I'm just coming from set with Michael Bay.
This
He's
is
like, wait.
perfect.
We can work with this.
Put this wig on.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that scene so much. And then after, like, he does the hype thing, and then they cut to commercial break, and Ollie's asking him, like, oh, how's your wife? She's still with you? He's like, yes. And he's like, well, ask her, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, it's so funny and charming. You can see everyone else in that, like, in that television broadcast room, like, getting into it too, and like smiling, and it's like, it's just electric. I don't have another word for it right now, but it's so exciting. And then, history has this too, but he loses the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man.
Yeah. It's funny, like, yeah, there's such a build to that fight. He loses, which happened,
The first loss of his career, right?
Yeah. Is it his first loss? He might have lost once before then. I'm not a Muhammad Ali expert, but he's only.
Well,
he's got
I'm rechecking the Wikipedia page, and it says it is the first loss. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, take that.
He's only got 5 losses, so. I think a lot of those came late. He does a run. Unfortunately, like Ali, like Rumble in the Jungle should have really been the end, that kind of should have been the end of his career. And he did the Thriller of Manila afterwards, which he did win, but like he kept trying to come back, and he did it a few more times beyond when he should have done it,
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard for a guy like that to get out of the ring, I guess, But yeah, he loses that fight, and then it like immediately segues into, never mind Frazier. Frazier just lost to George Foreman. Like now we got to do the Rumble in the Jungle, and then like the last half of the movie is that in Zaire, which is again what that document. You should check the documentary out. I think you'd like it. Also has an appearance by our old friend Norman Mailer, who was at the fight and talks about what he saw there.
Spinks.
Foreman punching the heavy bag was an unbelievable sight. I just remember him saying shit. Anyway, I think we talked enough about Mario Van Peebles' Malcolm X. He's just goodness. Mario Van Peebles has an odd career.
He does. He was in Jaws: The Revenge.
Yeah. When I guess this is the last time we talked about him.
Yeah. We can talk about more Mario Van Peebles, like if not today, other days.
I would like to, but like, what could we cover? Like his career is all over the place.
New Jack City.
I guess New Jack City would be one, if we could find an excuse to talk New Jack City.
There might be something there.
But like the last few movies on his Wikipedia are like movies you've never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also a director, and he's like directed a lot of odd movies. So, interesting career. He's great in this. Ron Silver, of all fucking people, as
Angelo Dundee.
Angelo Dundee, Ali's trainer. He's a big part of the second half of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, because like
Ron
Jamie
Silver's
Foxx
dead,
kind of
right? Yeah, Ron Silver's dead. Shit.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Yeah.
But Jamie Foxx kind of has that role in the first half, and then Ron Silver kind of takes over more in the second half.
Speaking of a guy, Ron Silver might have had terrible politics. It looks like.
Oh, well, good riddance then.
He switched to a quote independent, and supported George W. Bush after the September 11th attacks. So that was his thing. Yeah.
Jeffrey Wright.
No, it said he voted for Obama in the end.
Oh, all right.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Some people are hard to pin down.
Yeah, and then he died. So rest in peace, Ron Silver.
Jeffrey Wright as Howard
Jeffrey Wright.
Bingham.
What is this? Where is this in Jeffrey Wright's career?
You know, this is early.
It's
This
pretty
is early.
early. Not like
He's
super,
been
not like
around.
total, but like yeah, it's earlier. Like before the season, Shaft is probably his biggest movie,
Oh yeah.
and he's one of the gravediggers in Hamlet 2000.
Oh my God.
Where I believe in that movie, Bill Murray plays Polonius, which is a choice.
So it's a banger.
That's the Ethan Hawke Hamlet. I don't know. I haven't seen that in forever.
Well, it's Michael Almereyda.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that Tesla movie I really liked.
Yeah, he's an interesting filmmaker, but I don't know if that movie is necessarily modern. When you do modern Shakespeare, that's really that's a lot more difficult than I think people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we did Ride with the Devil, the Ang Lee Western that
I have not seen that one.
made less than $1 million.
Gotta watch
box
it.
office.
Really? That's
Yeah.
Was it like a independent movie or
No, it would cost $38 million to make.
All right, something fucking happened there.
Yeah, it looks like it was distributed by USA Films, which doesn't exist anymore.
That
So
might
that
be
might be a
the
part of
reason
it.
then.
Yeah, I don't know what happened totally there. It got a mixed critical reception.
All
but-
Ang Lee stuff does though, except for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah,
And,
that's what he does right after that.
Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's like he does Ice Storm, Ride with the Devil, and then Crouching Tiger.
Yeah. The only stuff that doesn't get mixed receptions are like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Brokeback Mountain, and Life of Pi. Like some people don't like Life of Pi.
Yeah, Life of Pi I think kind of aged weird, like in terms of the response it got.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he did Taking Woodstock, which is a movie no one remembers.
I don't remember that now.
Yeah. Who was in that? Was that guy was in it? The guy who used to be on the Daily Show all the time.
John Oliver?
No, Dimitri Martin.
Oh.
Remember Dimitri Martin?
No. Let me see.
He was the guy who used to have really weird conceptual comedy bits where like he had graphs.
No, I don't know this guy.
He was a very acquired taste.
Okay. Is it still worth acquiring?
I don't know. I haven't revisited any of it. I know Mark Maron used to hate him.
No.
But he
Yeah, Jeffrey
starred
Wright.
as Ice Bear on Cartoon Network's We Bear Bears. Sorry, go on,
okay.
Jeffrey Wright.
No, he's just everyone knows he's a great actor.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he doesn't
What's
have
he
like
doing
the
lately? He was on
flashiest role here.
Westworld. That's what he was doing recently.
He was in Westworld. He was in the Batman.
Yeah, he's James Gordon in Batman, which he's good in.
Yeah. No Time to Die.
They
He
brought
comes
him back
as
in No Time to
Felix.
Die so he could die.
Yeah. R.I.P. King.
R.I.P.
No, he was a CIA
Felix.
agent. It's fine.
Yeah, sure.
No,
So
I
they
love
bring-
No Time to Die.
What?
I loved No Time to Die. So I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie in like how long that movie came out? A little over
2021.
a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's already aged incredibly weird.
You think so?
Yeah.
Is it because of the director?
Might be because of the director.
Okay. Yeah, there's that hanging over it.
Yeah. So hey. But he was on Westworld until that was abruptly canceled.
Yeah. They're shopping it around, but I don't know if it's gonna get picked up.
Do you think the problem with shopping it around is that it is one of the most boring shows ever made?
I saw the first season, liked it, tapped out, and I feel good about it.
Yeah. I watched like the first 4 or 5 episodes. And I was like, they haven't even done what it took 90 minutes for the movie to do. But hey. Oh, you think maybe the fact that it got a 0.3 million viewers for the fourth season might have hurt it?
Maybe, but they're also like deleting it from the service, I think.
Yeah, but that's also because that company's run by a lunatic.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it doesn't matter how bad I think something is.
They're
It's
taking
like,
Arrested Development off of Netflix.
yeah,
Which was
weird. Notoriously the thing that they like. That was their first big move, like alongside House of Cards.
Yeah.
And, like
They brought it back, but
Black.
also that was one where they brought it back and then like everyone just pretends it didn't happen.
I never saw the final season. I saw the fourth one. I didn't hate it, but I never saw that last season either.
Yeah. Why is that one going away? What's that about?
I don't know.
Disney, I think, owns it, though.
Idea.
Does Disney own Arrested Development? Is that what it really is?
Oh, maybe, yeah, because it was a Fox show.
Yeah. So, like, that could be it. Oh. But, hey.
Jeffrey Wright was in The Last of Us Part 2. What the fuck?
Wow, that's money well spent.
I don't remember who we played. I played that game.
Why do they put celebrities in video games?
They think it brings, like, I don't know, a sense of like authenticity,
or
like prestige, like Hideo Kojima
can do it because it's just like, hey, look at my popular friends. Like,
yeah, like he just wants to be friends with famous people, and they all seem to like him. So, that's like one thing. Other people, I'm not going to name names, maybe think that they're better than the medium they're playing in.
Yeah, you know? Like the people who made The Last of Us 2.
I didn't say anything, but I'm just saying.
But I did.
Maybe you're what I was going to say. Maybe that was it. Maybe it wasn't. Who's to say? Anyways, Jeffrey Wright's just great. He's a great presence always.
Oh, yeah, he was Cuddly Whiskers on BoJack Horseman.
I should finish BoJack Horseman.
You should. Oh, he's the Watcher on the What If show.
That's a pretty good choice.
That's actually a pretty good choice for the Watcher. Like, fuck that shit. But, like, that's
a good choice. I saw the first one and I was like, all right. That's as far as I went.
Was it one of the earliest things Jeffrey Wright did was he was on the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I started rewatching that. It was on Amazon for a little bit, and then it took off, and now I don't know where it is. But
did it have the old man Indiana Jones intros?
No, it was the repackaged versions. Yeah. So.
That's a weird choice.
It was holding up as I was watching it. I liked it.
You're delivering mail, lady? That reminds me of the time in 1912 when the mail was whatever.
Yeah. You know what? I will love Indiana Jones 5 regardless of its actual quality if they give him an eye patch by
if he loses his eye at some point in the movie.
Uh-huh.
The guy who played old Indiana Jones on the show was younger than Harrison Ford is now.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's fantastic. There is an episode with Harrison Ford in the show.
Cinema is alive and well.
Yeah. All right, Ali. All right, let's see.
All right, let's see what else we got to go through.
I mean, there's a fuck ton of people in the movie. McKelty Williamson as Don King. Great actor.
That's what a... Again, like, that's I think an underrated, difficult performance is doing Don King. Because Don King is such a ridiculous human being. Who's also, like, evil, by the way. Like, Don King's a bad person. But a hard guy to pull off in a way that doesn't look like you're just doing a cartoon parody of him. And he does a good job.
Yeah. Well, McKelty Williamson is a fucking fantastic actor. It's a bummer that people kind of just know him from Forrest Gump, but he's like,
you know what?
Amazing.
I didn't even remember that that's where he was like kind of this thing that like made him big.
Yeah. He's in Heat like the following year. That should have like erased that, but and Con Air.
Yeah, he's had a hell of a career. He hasn't done anything in a little while though.
Species 2.
Hey.
He had a
Species
recurring...
2. I put Species 2 on the other, like a little while back, and that movie might have one of the biggest drop ball setups of all time.
Wait, why? What? I haven't seen the Species sequels.
Species isn't good, right?
Right.
And But Species 2 is kind of like, it's Species again, but this time there's a male alien that comes down that's evil.
Mm-hmm.
And through some like convoluted events, they have to bring Eve back, the fucking species from the first movie. And obviously the plot should be she teams up with the humans to bring the evil male one down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you pull a Terminator 2, and it's like, no, she just ends up being evil too. Some bullshit.
He had a recurring bit on Justified, and he was great.
Remember Species?
I do remember Species.
Whatever happened to her?
No, the actress has a name.
Yeah, but whatever happened to Species?
I don't know.
She was good in those movies, even though the movies aren't good.
Was she in Mass Effect?
Everyone was in Mass Effect, so that would make sense.
Huh.
I don't see her
I don't
listed
remember.
as being in Mass Effect.
All right. No, she was in Ghosts of Mars.
Oh, yeah!
Banger.
Yeah. Movie not nearly as bad as its reputation.
No, I like that movie.
I don't know if I like it, but it's better than the reputation it has.
So here's the thing. It is bad.
Yeah.
But I do like it.
Yeah.
And not in like a so bad as good way. I just don't think it comes together, but I like the elements of it.
It is one of those where, like, if it's 10 at night and it's on the Sci-Fi Channel, you're like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, perfect. 10 at night, order some fucking food you're going to feel miserable after eating.
Eat a
Watch
whole pizza.
Yeah, eat a whole pizza.
Wish you were dead. And
then you'll have a good time.
Watch Ghosts of Mars. You'll love it.
Yeah.
We got a return of our guy Barry Shabaka Henley.
Yeah.
Which I guess this is his first movie with Man. Again, it's another like 3 movie. Like he's kind of in the next 2 movies, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if they had a falling out though.
I don't know either. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I just saw his Wikipedia page. He's 68 years old. I thought he was like 68 when he did like Miami Vice. I thought he was like
he
90
kind of has
years
that
old.
look. But I just like
look that way.
I just like that he took the middle name Shabaka from a pharaoh of the 25th dynasty of Egypt.
Yeah, fucking why not?
Because why not? There is still nothing better in cinema, I would argue. There is no better moment than Barry Shabaka Henley holding the microphone in Miami Vice and just going, fire! It's the best shit ever. Isn't it?
It's sick. Or I like when he goes, I run it.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good.
Run it. Like,
oh man, he was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That depresses me.
No, you know what? For what that show was doing, I get it. That's a good choice.
What was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doing?
Well, first, because I haven't seen that season he was on yet. I stopped watching, not because of quality, just like I stopped caring about keeping up with stuff.
All I remember about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I was like, who is this for?
They didn't figure it out for like,
because it like had like a children's level kind of plot, but like they would like occasionally get violent out of nowhere, but also like certain weapons were like very explicitly like didn't kill people, you know.
Yeah, and the problem was like once they like had that established, they could tell like interesting stories after that, but they never really established it.
Yeah,
they just jumped to making interesting stories after that.
And then and then none of them were invited to be a part of Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, which sucks. And there's like a big Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan base, and I like when that show takes off finally after Winter Soldier's release. I like that show. I got a big soft spot for it. I think it's significantly better than fucking anything they've done since in the TV landscape that I've been able to catch a glimpse of. I gotta be honest, I haven't finished any of them. So, but yeah, I mean, like, I'm not including the Netflix stuff with that. I'm talking specifically about like the Disney Plus shows, you know. But yeah, once they get like they balance out the young adult adventure stuff, because like they have like these guns that don't kill people, like you mentioned, like these phaser things, whatever. They just knock them out. But it was like, okay, you're working for S.H.I.E.L.D. though, so clearly, you know, you're like in a bunch of these separate Cold Wars. Like this is spy shit. So like, what are like the logistics of the spy shit? You know, like, are you like James Bond? Is it like Bourne? Is it like Mission Impossible? And then eventually they kind of get into we're doing Mission Impossible in the superhero world. And that's when it, like, the gears start clicking together and stuff.
Yeah, that's probably what they should have done from the start.
Yeah. The pilot is not good.
Is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like one of the last things Bill Paxton did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that disappoints you. He's really fun in that
I
show.
know, I saw those episodes.
Yeah, he's good in them.
He's fine. It's a little sad. It's a little sad. He was Deathlock, right?
No. Deathlock was J. August Richards.
But doesn't he become Deathlock by the end?
No, Deathlock.
They did a thing where he turned into Deathlock and then they just blew him up.
Deathlock was like a subplot in this first season, and then like they use like similar technology to like beef up the guy Bill Paxton played. I don't remember his character name.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. I remember Bill Paxton was in it, and he has a face-to-face with Samuel L. Jackson, which makes it all worth it.
Yeah. That was that weird where, like, Sam Jackson clearly didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And they did the same eye gag from Winter Soldier on the show.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird.
That was strange, but
what a weird. It's because it's like exploded now. The early years of the MCU are even stranger than like now.
Yeah, but they're interesting because like the mistakes are at least like they feel less like.
Is it interesting, or is it just we want to go back to the time where it like seemed like it could actually work, and then we kind of realized very quickly that it had a snowball's chance in hell of working?
Maybe a little bit of both. Again, just make it all TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
It should just be one big TV show.
Yeah, but that's not where the money is.
No, of course not. But that's where the integrity is. So of course they'll never do it.
And what is Ali about? It's about integrity.
Yeah.
That's other thing. Just talk about this movie. That's so like. I guess it makes sense. People didn't respond very strongly to this. That it's mostly about the political stuff. He spends a huge chunk of the movie not boxing, and then the last fight is the Rumble in the Jungle, which is the rope-a-dope fight, which is Ali basically just letting himself get hit, like. Just tiring Foreman out, which isn't like the most cinematically interesting fight on the planet.
No, yeah, I don't think it's bad at all.
No, it's not bad, but like,
about it.
It's not like Rocky, you're not like coming out, like going like, yeah, like.
But I also think, well, maybe the least interesting part of the movie, the best way to end the movie, if you're telling this story, right? Because like, what's the whole movie? His whole life, it's about, he has to let the enemies in his life tire themselves out against him, so he can that's deliver the finishing blows. And
they set it up earlier, even with like the mummy shit, like that's like one of the earliest scenes in the movie, and like you could do the Thriller in Manila, which is what happens next, Ali versus Frazier Free, which is when Ali beats Frazier again, finally. But that's not, not as interesting, not as thematically appropriate. Although, Ang Lee almost did a movie about that.
Really?
He
did not know that.
He talked for a while about doing a movie that was just going to be the Thriller in Manila. So, I don't know if that could be interesting.
I think he could do it. Mm-hmm. He said he's not using high frame rates for his next movie, though, and I'm like, no, come back.
If he's gonna do the Ali boxing thing, he should totally use the high frame rate. But,
I think for boxing, it's such a
is Ang Lee
perfect sport for that.
Has he just been defeated by the system at this point?
I don't know, because like Life of Pi gets him so much goodwill from the industry,
but it goes nowhere because it goes into Billy Flynn's halftime walk, which no one remembers.
I remember it.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't like that one very much, but I admire it. And then Gemini Man is the exact opposite type of movie, but I think what he's trying to go for works better there.
Gemini Man also talking about Will Smith had that hysterical thing of like, they de-aged Will Smith, and it's like, they look the same.
Well, there was a part where it was just like, man, I love that Ang Lee took the swing,
Mhm.
But then another part of me was like, couldn't you just gotten Jaden for the younger guy?
Yeah, but
Like,
I think everyone has agreed that we're not doing the Jaden Smith stuff anymore.
no, I kind of agree, but I'm also like, okay, just that one. Like,
Is
just
Jaden even like
maybe that's the one.
is he doing anything anymore? Like
I don't think so. I think he's just making music now. I
other
don't
than
think he's
occasionally
interested in
tweeting
acting.
shit like "What is water?" or like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah, he used to fucking tweet out the funniest shit.
yeah,
Now I think he's just kind of gotten
mm,
a low profile, which I
yeah.
respect. You know, he doesn't need to be out
You don't need to be out
and shit.
there.
Yeah. Oh, he
Uh,
was in the Get Down, Jaden Smith, which I
oh
really loved.
yeah, yeah. Is the Get Down good?
It is good. I really loved the Get
Okay,
Down.
that only lasts like one
Yeah.
season, right?
Yeah, it was really expensive, and it didn't get the numbers for
Mhm.
Netflix to continue it. But it's what Baz Luhrmann was doing
Yeah,
between Gatsby and
I just
Elvis.
never bothered to check it out.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would recommend it
I was on
honestly.
he did a voice on the new Proud Family,
Oh, cool.
which
Is
is
that good? It doesn't look very good, but then I
I
see
haven't
people really
watched it,
rallying
but
around
also
it.
I'm like, it's not for me.
Yeah, I
Like
mean that's the thing, right? Like
it's
I'm kind
a
of interested because I have very fond memories of the Proud Family,
mm,
but like if I don't like it, I should probably just recognize like, okay, is it
mm,
because it's not for me anymore, which is fine, or is it like not good,
yeah. I don't
or
know.
should I
I'm
even
just
care? You know,
yeah.
like
I'm just not even gonna bother.
yeah,
Just but I have fond memories of Proud Family. I don't think I've watched a single episode of it since my childhood.
yeah,
It's not
me
one where I was
neither.
like, I have to seek this out.
Yeah,
Um,
like I started I I wasn't say rewatching. I started the pilot of X-Men Evolution because I remember being like,
oh
well, clearly
yeah,
that was the best one. It's fucking rough.
no, it is.
But it's like
Is
in a
it
low
like
budget animation way. So I'm like, I'm gonna hold out. I'm gonna keep going
yeah?
because sometimes those things get better, and other times it's like, oh
I
no.
remember that was the one where like one of the seasons kind of like gets like really extreme, like where the Sentinels attack and shit.
Hmm.
Like I think that's season 2. I remember seeing that for the first time as a kid and being like, "This is a little intense." Like,
I remember like a very vivid memory of watching for the first time an episode on Saturday morning with like Wolverine and Magneto, and it was like one of their like showdowns things, right? And then Magneto like spares him and saves his life or whatever, and then he like the episode ends and he's like, oh, like a small boy from Poland owes you that much because Wolverine was in World War II
oh
with
yeah,
Captain America, and I was just like, whoa, like not just because Captain America, but I was like the implication of that,
remember when superheroes used to be cool and
Yeah.
fun and awesome, and there's nothing to do with the fact that we're getting older.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's totally fine. I think you
But
can
hey,
acknowledge that.
X-Men '97 coming to Disney Plus this year.
Who gives a fuck?
Can't can't wait. Aren't we all excited for X-Men '97?
Anyone who's excited about that, I'm gonna make fun of them. I'm sorry.
That is a weird one.
Yeah,
Oh.
it had an ending. Like,
Did it?
whatever.
I never got like super. I've seen most of it, but like I don't know how it ends.
I don't. I'm not a big fan of it.
Neither am I. It was never
Yeah,
one where I was like, I gotta go back. You know.
yeah. I wasn't a big fan of the '90s Spider-Man either. I
Mhm.
will also concede that both those shows I just mentioned have banger theme songs, though.
Yeah, I know, 100%.
Yeah, no one's denying
They
that.
brought it back for that movie.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason that's in that movie. That theme is because they're bringing back the cartoon
Of
show.
course, of
Yeah.
course. But hey, um,
Ali's kind of a
Ali,
superhero.
Ali fought Superman
Yeah,
and won.
yeah.
By the way, Ali beat Superman. Speaking of John Peters, like that, this is a John Peters joint. Um,
Yes, it is.
and I think Kevin Smith tells a story, like part of the Superman story was like he went to his John Peters mansion and he had a giant framed picture of the Superman versus Ali cover, the comic book cover, and he was like, he says he must have been sitting around with it. What should my next film be? And then he looked up at that poster and was like, aha, like, Superman and Ali. Um, that's an honestly great comic, by the way.
Yeah.
Superman versus Ali.
All right, I'm gonna have to look it up.
It's a ton of fun. Neil Adams art, like it's great shit. I believe the setup is aliens are like come down and be like, we need a champion from Earth to like come and fight. And Superman's like, well, I'll go because I'm the strongest fighter. And Ollie's like, what are you talking about, Superman? You're not even from Earth. Like, and he's doing the like, shit talking of Superman. He's like calling him out. And then they box and Ollie wins.
That fucking rules.
I know, it's the best. The cover is really good if you can get like a framed, because it has like every character from the DC universe in it and like every celebrity that was popular at that time. It's like Bob Hope and Don Rickles and Columbo. Like,
I'm gonna get a poster of this.
yeah. What a great comic.
Well,
Again, remember when superheroes used to be fun and cool?
yeah. Yeah, they can still be fun and cool. Just need less
See,
of them.
that's all. Like, I don't like. They're always trying to reinvent the fucking wheel with these plots. The plot literally just has to be: we need the strongest fighter. Aliens come down and like, we want the strongest fighter, and then you find an excuse for Muhammad Ali and Superman to fight. It's like Godzilla versus Barkley. Which is another. That was, I think, a commercial at one point. Was that what it was?
I don't know, actually.
It's like an animated commercial where Charles Barkley and Godzilla.
Oh yes, yeah. It's not animated. It's
okay.
It's like a man in a suit.
They made it into a comic later, though. There is a comic version. That's the one where I think like there's some comics. It goes around every now and then where it's Godzilla dunking, being like, Godzilla got busy. It's him training. See, that's where cinema should go.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Well, like I was kind of joking when I said like Muhammad Ali's kind of like a superhero, but it's like the same like subject matter can be tackled like with fictional characters.
Yeah.
Like it's significantly more important here because this is a real person who lived and existed and is fighting real problems.
No joke, Ali is like one of the closest we came to like an actual superhero on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
Like he was the greatest.
Yeah.
And like there's never really been someone that like, like like Tyson later, but like he never had that same pull,
Yeah.
Tyson's weird where like now he just has this like a podcast. Like he had an animated show with Norm Macdonald voicing a pigeon on it.
Yeah, and it was like Mike Tyson Adventures or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, what? What?
And he's like, that dude with his history is now like, everyone's like, we all love Mike Tyson. It's like, damn.
Wasn't he just like, there was something like, some video going around where he was like, why'd you bite the ear off? He's like, I wanted to.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, he used to give those interviews where he was like, back then I had so much hate in my heart, like I could convince myself to do anything to people, and he's like, I had to learn to get over that. Like now he's like trying to be all mellow and stuff, but he is like Mike Tyson, where like if he hit you, he'd kill you.
yeah.
So I guess you are correct that we will eventually move past the Will Smith slapping incident.
Yeah.
If we
He
can
never
move
bit
past-
anyone's ear off.
Yeah, if we can move past Mike Tyson being Mike Tyson for about a decade. Yeah.
But Will Smith has to let his image be massaged by someone else other than the approach he had before.
Yeah, he needs to get
You know.
better with he's got to pick better projects.
Yeah.
And part of me, I've just been waiting for the day that he will kind of come back, like,
Mhm.
and it's never really happened, which is so strange when you think about it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, rewatching Ali for this too, it was just like, oh yeah, like he's out there somewhere, like he can do it. He's got it.
Mhm.
And honestly, I think he's good in Gemini Man, and I thought he was great in Bad Boys 3. Like I haven't seen him lose the spark. It's lost in the wilderness somewhere.
yeah, something's up. Something's wrong.
Yeah. All right, is this the most underrated Michael Mann movie?
Well, Black Hat might still have that right now. But even then, like, I don't know, Black Hat's like catching up, right? Like,
I think so, because more people are watching it like when it's streaming or whatever. Like it was in fucking Netflix top 10. for a minute there or something.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wait, what? Which one?
You know why?
Like-
You know why? It's because it's such a dad movie. Like, it really is.
Yeah.
It's like Sunday afternoon, all the fucking chores are done, or you're too tired to finish the chores. Gotta find something to watch. Put on Black Hat. It's about crime. Like,
It's about crime, and then you get Chris Hemsworth saying stuff like, the real hit's yet to come.
yeah. But also, you get the scene where someone, like, explains, like, this is how a computer works. Like, so, makes sense. I think if that one's just in weird limbo because of the multiple versions of it, and we don't know, like, if there will ever be an official release of the director's cut of Black Hat, which I do think is, like, vastly superior, even though I do like the theatrical cut.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like knowing it's out there, I don't even want to go back to the theatrical cut. So
I can understand that.
What'll probably happen is Michael Mann will come out with like a third version of Black Hat. You know, like, that's
if Ferrari's a hit, and I hope it is, then I think we'll get some magic again.
Ferrari's just going to be weird in that it's so close to Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah,
like that's where
and people love that movie.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize how many normal people loved that movie.
Another perfect dad movie.
Yeah.
That's what
I like that movie.
I like
people
it. I wasn't like
love that movie.
I mean, it is one of those movies that like it just doesn't really get made that much anymore, you know? But,
yeah, no. I would happily recommend that movie, frankly, to anyone.
Yeah.
Which is maybe why people love it so much, because it's like it's for everyone, you know.
And now that guy is doing Indiana Jones 5.
I love Mangold as a director, so let's. I'm hoping for the best. But I don't think Michael Mann makes movies for everyone. I think he makes movies for Michael Mann and.
Jesus Christ! I didn't realize Mads Mikkelsen's character. I knew he was a Nazi. I didn't realize he was a NASA scientist.
Oh yeah, they're doing the Operation Paperclip shit.
That's actually kind of a ballsy move.
I like that.
That's actually kind of a wild choice.
Yeah, you know, like after Crystal Skull, I was like, yeah, we should be attacking other villains from different eras, right? So like eventually, like you could do a lot with that. But then right now, given the state of the nation and the world, I'm like, no, let's wheel back around to fucking up Nazis.
It's weird seeing John Rhys Davies back as Sala.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like it's aged a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be hysterical though if in this movie they pulled a Walter from The Big Lebowski. Be like, you're not even fucking Egyptian, man.
Like he was just like adopted.
Yeah, like he converted for his wife or something.
Like nice way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, stop talking like that.
I can imagine Grumpy Harrison Ford saying that. Stop talking like that.
Toby Jones's character is named Basil.
That's perfect.
That's perfect.
He's gonna be the highlight of the movie. Toby Jones could be in a Michael Mann movie.
What now?
Toby Jones could be in a Michael Mann movie.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Antonio Banderas is in Indy 5?
Oh yeah, you didn't hear my take about that?
No, I haven't. I kind of been ignoring the movie, frankly.
That's fine. So I just love Toby Jones. Antonio Banderas was in the Uncharted movie, which is Baby's first Indiana Jones, right?
Or garbage.
I mean, yeah, that movie is bad, but it should be great, and they fuck it up. But Antonio Banderas is in the movie, and then he gets killed off at the end of the second act, and then the real villain is like the young, sexy femme fatale.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, this is like, it loses all energy. Not that it had any before, but it loses more energy than it had, right? And so my theory is that he was like, well, I wanted to be an Indiana Jones villain. And then they're like, hey, do you want to be in Indiana Jones 5? And he was like, fuck yeah. That's what I think happened.
All right. Cool. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, is she going to be Marcus Brody's daughter?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's not a bad choice.
Yeah, no, and she's like a talented actress. I need to see her show Fleabag, though.
Yeah.
I hear Fleabag is quite good.
Yeah. It's quite good and also quite bad, but also quite good, but also quite bad.
Oh.
I'm basing this on the discourse that seems to happen every 3 months.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I try to shut that out now.
This reminds me, there's a movie that's discourse has been wild this year that I want to talk to you about after we're done recording.
Okay.
So,
Um, how much more do I have to say about Muhammad Ali?
I don't know if I have much more. We barely talked about the fucking movie, but
no, we talked about
it.
Yeah.
It's weird. We probably could have done a good hour on just the movie, but I filled it with about an hour of other nonsense. I keep thinking these episodes have to be longer, and they really don't. They really don't.
Yeah, we can just talk about the movie.
Yeah.
This is a great film.
Yes.
I think it might be the most underrated Michael Mann movie.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that one.
And I'll be honest, on my Michael Mann ranked list on Letterboxd, it is at number 9. 10 and 11 are The Keep and Public Enemies, and then number 12 is LA Takedown. His bad picture. His one bad one. So it's like, I'm going to bat for it really hard, but I do love a lot of his other stuff more. Now, it'll probably go up as I revisit it more again, but like...
Man, it's hard because he has so many good movies.
Yeah. I mean, all of his movies, minus the bottom 3 I just gave, are kind of 5-star pictures, you know? Like, I have Last of the Mohicans next to it, and I'm like, do I like it more than Last of the Mohicans?
It depends on which one. It's always that one, like, what was the last one you watched, you know?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that going on there.
Yeah, even for me, I'm always like, well, Manhunter's my favorite, and then I'm like, but then Heat, and Collateral, and Miami Vice, and Thief, and Black Cat, and Insider. It's like, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to choose.
My dad's favorite is The Keep.
Really?
He loves The Keep.
All right.
I don't
it's my kind of dad.
I don't totally understand it, but hey, whatever makes him happy.
I like The Keep.
Keep's a weird movie.
It's a very weird movie.
Very
I didn't say it wasn't. Well, it's not finished, which doesn't help. I'll end with my favorite quote from Jamie Foxx as Bundini Brown, where he says, after basically fucking up his life and fucking up Muhammad Ali a little bit too.
Yeah.
He says, free ain't easy, free is real, and real's a motherfucker. That's a fantastic quote.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good summation of the entire film, frankly. But yeah, fantastic movie. I hesitate to call it life affirming, but it's affirming to me, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I feel like more optimistic after I watch it. And I don't always feel more optimistic after the narratives of a Michael Mann movie.
Yeah.
Although that's not always true. I just love watching Michael Mann shit. So like I'll watch Manhunter and I'm like, yeah, this is relaxing, you know, like it's not, but I just like it so much. It's one of those strange things, you know. Yeah, Muhammad Ali. We did it.
We did it.
We did the film.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we're doing next time on the retrospective.
Yes.
Thought I had it ready. That's on me.
All right.
All right.
I think we're running out of energy a little bit.
It's fine. It's fine. All right.
We talked for like 90 minutes before we started recording today.
It's okay. It's all part of the.
We covered like everything from like fucking pop culture to the Catholic Church, and we still found ways to bring up fucking the Marvel Universe on this episode.
And we talked about Green Lantern for like another half hour.
Oh God. Green Lantern.
All right, next up, another biopic, but I think we can get some strength out of it. Steve Jobs.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Danny Boyle directed.
What a good one to do next.
Yep.
I'm so happy that's the one we're doing next.
Me too.
Oh boy.
This is going to go great.
Said no one ever.
It's gonna be fun.
All right.
Goodbye. Just links in the description to both of our stuff. Thank you, Matt, my co-host, for joining me again.
Goodbye, Judy Foster.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We have been professionally unprofessional.